Especially
every
for
day.
poor Joseph.
Yeah, Joseph had the worst.
Poor.
I'm alive though. That's all that matters.
That's true.
I was like, dude, I seriously though, like after I hit the guardrail and bounced over, I was like thinking to myself, like, who do I call? Because I'm like, I was kind of jittery, and I was like, not my thoughts weren't like, I was like, who do I call? I was like, I could call 911. Should I call 911?
Yeah, like it's not.
And I'm like asking myself all these questions, like, or should I just try to call the police department? Do I call my insurance? And I'm like, and then I look at my my mirror, and I see the state trooper. I'm like, oh, cool, I don't have to do anything. He's here. Like,
Help
so I got
has
out of the
arrived.
truck. I got out of the truck, and I had to like move the fucking airbag out of my way. And he goes, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm good." He said, "You're not injured or nothing?" I said, "No." He goes, "Okay, I need your license and registration."
Okay, now you're in trouble.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to cite you for failure to."
Should have got out like all whiplash, like
They're like, on the other hand, hospital bills.
My neck. I'm gonna have to sue myself.
Yeah, man. I haven't been in a car accident in years. I mean, the last car accident I was in, god damn, I was 19. Yeah, so it's been a long time. 19 or 20, I think.
That's
been a long time.
About around the same time my last major accident was.
So it's been like
Jetta.
17, 18 years. That's insane. 18 years I ain't been in a car accident. But I fucking fucked up that guardrail. They knew I was there, dude.
You don't know who's boss
It
now.
knew I was there.
Like my truck's like, yeah, but you should see the other guy.
Yeah.
It'll quake in its boots next time it sees me.
Every time he sees a red trick.
Yeah, I'm just like, it flinches every time a red truck drives by.
You just see the fucking guardrail just shake. Just a quick shake.
It's like,
What was that?
Anyway, we are the Bonsai Movie Crew.
Here we said this is going to be a fast one. It's already 2 minutes in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is what we do. No, it's not going to be a fast one.
No. We'll be out of here around
She
midnight.
We are the Bonsai Movie Crew. Don't forget to check out all our social stuff down there. Our X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I just need to write them down. I always forget what they are.
All of those things.
All those things. And then check us out if you want to listen to us on obviously YouTube, or you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon, all that stuff. Everywhere. We might even be on Pandora for all I know. I don't know. I'm not sure. Honestly,
all of those things.
Anyway, let's get into our creator profile. Since Karen's got a lot to read for trivia, I'll do the creator profile.
Oh.
It's a long one. And I don't feel like correcting you for the next hour.
You mean me or Karen correcting you?
No, me correcting you.
Karen corrects me and you. You're not any better.
Sometimes.
I'm not correcting, I'm helping.
Well, that's what we mean.
Does anybody know what our creator profile is?
I'm going to go with Harrison Ford.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was a toss-up between him and Ridley Scott. I wasn't sure which one to do.
That's the main guy in it.
Who?
The creator profile guy.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, Harrison Ford. Yep. Indiana Jones.
I know
Han
I
Solo.
recognized them from somewhere. I hated that movie.
Wow.
Indiana Jones?
Don't say that too loudly. You are on a movie podcast.
Get the fuck
You
out
would
of
get
here.
fucking
horrible.
banned. You're going to get our podcast fucked up.
She says it's
Also-
horrible until she goes back and watches. She's like, okay, I did like it.
No,
this time.
but I
right.
hated animal movies as a kid too. I hated animal movies.
There's very little
with a burning
animals in
passion.
Indiana
You don't
Jones.
like-
I know that's
It's archaeology.
You don't like
no, I mean,
Cujo?
that's besides the point. I'm
Should
just
be
saying,
in a museum.
I'm just saying all them kids liked those animal movies and I hated them.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of animal movies either, but
Yeah.
Indiana Jones isn't not even a comparison.
The hell are you talking about animal movies?
She brought
She
it up.
said, she said she hates animal movies.
You don't like Cujo?
Even though her favorite thing was
You like
Barbie.
old
It was
Yeller?
literally a big
That
purple
was-
dinosaur.
that's different.
It was a fucking animal.
It was an imaginary animal.
Land of Time?
It's different. I hated that movie with a burning
You
passion.
mean Land Before Time.
Yeah, Land Before Time.
Did not
yeah.
like that movie. It.
Why?
All right, anyway, let's get into Harrison Ford.
She didn't like Ducky.
No, I hated it.
Petrie.
Yeah, Petrie. I always
named-
said Ducky.
No, no, Ducky's one of them too.
Yeah, Ducky's in there.
Yeah. Petrie's the little guy who's like, they named him, he's literally named after a Petri dish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford struggled for years as an actor before George Lucas cast him in 1973's American Graffiti. Ford then hit superstardom as Han Solo in the first 3 Star Wars films as Indiana Jones in The Raiders of the Lost Ark and its sequels. All huge successes. He has enjoyed leading roles in numerous Hollywood films such as Blade Runner, Witness, Working Girl, Patriot Games, The Fugitive, and 42, among many others. Ford later revisited some of the most famous characters in Indiana Jones, one of his most famous characters in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Star Wars The Force Awakens, and Blade Runner 2049. Oh, man. And that Crystal Skull movie sucked. So, early life and career. Born on July 13th, 1942 in Chicago, Illinois, Ford grew up in the suburb of Des Plaines as the son of an advertising executive and a stay-at-home mother. Of course he did. You ever notice that it's like a thing with all these actors? All their moms are either like teachers or like stay-at-home mothers. It's like, yeah, because they were the dumbass saying, "Oh, son, you can be whatever you want, even if you want to be an actor."
Well, Lottie frickin' God!
You also have to think, though, like back then, that was pretty common for there to be stay-at-home moms.
I guess so, yeah. Back in the 40s, you're right. Yeah, back when they could afford to live on one job, on one income. Yeah, I guess you're right about that. After graduating high school in 1960, Ford studied English and philosophy at Ripon, a college in Wisconsin, where he discovered an interest in performing nearly by accident. Ford signed up for a drama course, hoping for an easy, good grade. "I was terrified to get up in front of people, but I enjoyed the storytelling part," he explained to People. However, Ford wasn't the best student in college, and he ended up leaving before completing his degree. With his future wife, Mary Marquardt? I don't know. Sure.
Okay.
No, spelled weird. Quart. Sure. He made his way to Hollywood in the mid-1960s. Ford first landed a deal with Columbia Pictures as a contract player, earning $150 a week. Contract player? What is that? Contract player?
I think they're like the stand-ins and plays.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about? Like the ones that are
On call.
yeah, like the ones that work specifically for a certain playhouse. You know what I'm saying? Like the Sydney Theater. Like they put on.
So he works for a specific
Yeah, he works for a specific playhouse, and if they're putting on a play, they say like, "Hey, we've got this play going on. Are you interested?" And they give those people calls first or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. Well, it says he was on contract, so he was probably paid $150 to be on contract with them.
Right.
Like, hey, when we call you, if we need you, you need to know your lines.
Yeah.
One of those deals.
That's how I understand it. I could be wrong about that though.
He then ended up at Universal. In 1966, Ford made his film debut in a bit part in Dead Heat on a merry-go-round. Dead Heat on a merry-go-round. That's weird. Studio executives were less than impressed. One studio official said, "You'll never make it in this business," Ford told the Hollywood Reporter. Damn. Pack up and go home, bitch.
That guy got fired.
Oh, yeah.
Breakthrough films, American Graffiti. Frustrated with the lack of success as an actor, Ford became a carpenter to supplement his income. George Lucas gave him his first important film role in 1973 drama American Graffiti, but his career failed to progress much afterward. He worked for Francis Ford Coppola as both a carpenter and an actor, with small roles in The Conversation and Apocalypse Now. Star Wars. In 1977, Ford collaborated with Lucas again for his breakthrough role as Han Solo in Star Wars. His portrayal of the brash but likable rogue in this science fiction classic raised his profile in Hollywood. The film's 2 sequels, The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, helped make him a star. Raiders of the Lost Ark and Blade Runner. Hold on, I need a fucking drink.
So you kind of sound like you said Jedi a little wrong.
Jedi.
Jedi.
Probably did. All right, that's better. Getting a little dry. Around this time, Ford brought another of his legacy film characters to the big screen. He played resourceful, swashbuckling archaeologist Indiana Jones in 1981's Raiders of the Lost Ark, directed by Steven Spielberg. The action-adventure tale, written in part by Lucas, proved to be a huge hit. What? Did I do something?
No, we're over here flipping each other off, and
I was flipping
my...
Eric off. I
I
was
know you
just
need to
shaking my
stay
head
off
at
that
you.
mic.
Why?
Sorry.
What did I do?
You were
I'm just
shaking
trying
your
to
head
read.
at
You
me.
guys are goofing off. You need to pay attention in
You
class.
said Indiana Jones, and she
Excuse
went,
me?
and I went,
Fuck your own
Shit.
face!
Exactly.
Yeah, fuck your own face.
No, he's talking to you.
No, he's talking to you.
He's got a thing for you.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
Yo!
Ooh, and I'm surrounded by assholes.
Anyways.
Anyway,
children.
okay, so blah 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 blah. Okay, Indiana
Julie's your
Jones.
spot.
Shut up. I'm trying to figure out where I left off.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Shut up!
Okay, the action adventure tale written by George Lucas proved to be a huge hit. It spawned several sequels, including Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. Around the time of the first Indiana Jones installment, Ford also starred in the title character in Blade Runner, a shadowy science fiction outing directed by Ridley Scott that would become a cult classic. More movies, The Witness. Ford enhanced his reputation as a dramatic actor with several significant roles in the mid-1980s. He received an Academy Award nomination for his work in 1985's The Witness, a crime drama co-starring Kelly McGillis and directed by Peter Weir.
Peer queer? What?
The following
That's a
year,
weird
Ford
name.
reteamed with Weir to play an offbeat inventor in The Mosquito Coast with River Phoenix and Helen Mirren. While the project was a commercial disappointment, the film allowed Ford to tackle an unusual and sometimes unlikable character. In 1988, he showed his lighter side in the popular romantic comedy Working Girl with Melanie Griffith and Sigourney Weaver.
I thought I was about to say Melanie Martinez.
Patriot Games. Returning to the role of an action hero, Ford starred in 1992's Patriot Games as CIA agent Jack Ryan, the protagonist from the best-selling novel by Tom Clancy. Audiences loved him in the role, which he reprised in 1994's Clear and Present Danger. By this time, Ford had become one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. He earned $20 million per film, with 15% of the film's gross taken at the box office at his peak. Air Force One. After years of blockbuster success, Ford stumbled through a few missteps in the mid to late 90s. He starred in the disappointing remake of 1954 dramatic comedy Sabrina with Julia Ormond, I guess, and Greg Kinnear. Co-starring with Brad Pitt, Ford saw his 1997 crime thriller The Devil's Own fall flat. The Devil's Own. That's all one. Why'd they make that all one word? The Devil's Own fall flat. They should not have worded it like that. It's so confusing.
Should have been like a comma or something there.
Something like, or like fell, like said it in a way that where it said fell flat. Anyway, but he proved that his box office prowess had not faded with his return as president of the United States in the hit action thriller Air Force One that same year. Other dramas he starred in around this time include Presumed Innocent in 1990, Regarding Henry in 1991, and the horror film What Lies Beneath in 2000 with Michelle Pfeiffer, which isn't a bad movie, actually. It's pretty good. Which is one of the few like ghost movies that I can sit through. Have you seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Morning Glory in 42. Ford took on an unusual form of action film in 2010 with Cowboys and Aliens facing off against Daniel Craig. Didn't really face off, though. That was weird. I remember that movie. I don't think it did that well, but like it was an okay movie. It was a good
I didn't see it.
Good Western action sci-fi flick, which was kind of cool. Okay, where was I? Okay, facing off against Daniel Craig. That same year, his comedy Morning Glory with Rachel McAdams and Diane Keaton fared well at the box office. In 2013, he showed his dramatic talents in 42, a film about life of an African-American baseball legend, Jackie Robinson. Ford plays Branch Rickey, the baseball executive who signed Robinson to play for the Brooklyn Dodgers. That year, he also appeared in the science fiction adventure Ender's Game and the thriller Paranoia, reprising Han Solo for Star Wars The Force Awakens. In late 2000, April 2014, Ford delighted film fans everywhere with the news that he would appear in the latest installment in the long-running Star Wars franchise. The cast also included his earlier co-stars Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill. Star Wars The Force Awakens, directed by J.J. Abrams, opened in the U.S. on December 18, 2015, and broke an array of box office records, earning more than $247 million domestically in its opening weekend. Almost there, guys. 3 more paragraphs. 4 more paragraphs. Sorry.
5 more.
He keeps adding.
6 more. Full
5,
page.
6, 7, 2 more pages.
Blade Runner 2049. 2 years later, Ford reprised his Blade Runner role in its sequel, Blade Runner 2049, with Ryan Gosling. The longtime actor then signed up for his first animated project, voicing a farm dog named Rooster for The Secret Life of Pets 2, before starring alongside a CGI canine for a big screen adaptation of Jack London's The Call of the Wild.
I will say, I do like The Secret Life of Pets. I love those movies.
You don't like animal movies.
But I like those movies.
You can't.
You can't say, that's like she says, I hate action movies, but I love Die Hard. Makes no sense. You like action movies.
I don't like a lot of animal movies, and I don't like a lot
you need
of
to get
action
your. All
movies.
I know is you need to get your priorities straight. Okay.
They are straight, just not with movies.
All right. Marriage and personal life. Ford was married in his college to his college girlfriend Mary Marquardt. I can't say that last name. From 1964 to 1979, the couple has 2 sons together. He married screenwriter Melissa Matheson in 1983. They met during the making of 1979's Apocalypse Now. They had 2 children together before separating in 2001 and finalizing the divorce in 2014. Ford has been romantically involved with actress Callista Flockhart since 2002. The couple married in 2010. A longtime pilot, Ford made headlines. Sorry, I made that sound like it's all one paragraph, and it's not. A longtime pilot, Ford made headlines in March 2015 when he was involved in a plane crash. He was forced to make a crash landing on a golf course in Venice, California, after experiencing engine troubles. He had run into problems with his vintage aircraft shortly after taking off from California's Santa Monica Airport on March 5th. According to the New York Daily News, Ford broke his ankle and pelvis in the crash, which both injuries required surgery. And I remember that, actually. I remember when that happened.
Yeah.
In November 2017, Ford was back in the news over another vehicle mishap, this time for assisting a driver who had swerved off Highway 126 in Santa Paula, California. Ford, in the area after reportedly using his plane at the nearby airport, rushed to the accident scene with a few other bystanders and helped the driver out of her car. Wow, that's actually really nice. Appearing on the Ellen DeGeneres show in 2019, the 76-year-old Ford revealed that he had recently tried skydiving for the first time with his 18-year-old son, Liam. He's 70. He was 76 and had an 18-year-old son, and he tried skydiving for the first time at 76 years old.
I would have had a heart attack.
He's such a conundrum because he seems like such a crotchety person.
Oh, for sure.
But he's not.
It's just a persona. I mean, that's
it's so funny because you're looking at his picture down here right now, and he's got as an old man, he's got his left ear pierced. He's got his left ear pierced. And so I'm like, huh. And it's not like a diamond. It's like a fucking gold hoop he's got in his ear.
He was always like that. Even when he was young, he acted like he was crotchety.
Yeah.
Like very unapproachable.
That's the kind of face that he's got,
I guess.
And that's the kind of roles that he plays. So people just probably figure I bet he's kind of an asshole in life. Like your grumpy grandpa.
Like I guess he always wanted to seem unapproachable, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Like leave
There's
me the
a lot
fuck
of people
alone.
like that.
Did you guys ever see that thing he did? I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. He did an interview on Jimmy Kimmel. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. And all they told him was
just for reference, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel.
No, this was a long time ago, back when he actually did funny stuff. But all they told Harrison Ford was that they were going to have Chewbacca on, and that it was going to be cute and funny or whatever. And so they bring Chewbacca out or whatever, and he surprised everyone, including Jimmy Kimmel, when he was like, "What the is he doing here?"
Yeah.
And they were like, you could see it on everybody's faces, like, "What?" And he was like, "She was my wife, you son of a bitch." He does this whole thing, and they played it all out. And they even bring him back. Like at some point, they do another show with him and Chewbacca, and it's freaking hilarious. I'm telling you, look it up. It is hilarious.
I think I do remember seeing.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it was just funny because he walks out. He's like, "What the hell is he doing here?" "She was my wife, you son of a bitch."
All right, favorite Harrison Ford movies.
Probably say the Patriot Games.
Patriot Games.
Mine's What Lies Beneath, because it's outside of his normal thing, and it's not a movie you would really normally think of him to be in.
Right.
It was really good.
I'm gonna say, man, I don't know. He's done a lot of movies. The Fugitive is a really good one.
Yeah.
I really love The Fugitive because it's got him and Tommy Lee Jones in it. Yeah, I don't know, man.
What all movies has he been in?
He's been in a lot of fucking movies.
I didn't want to pick a normal action. I would really like to say Indiana
The
Jones.
Witness is another good. The Witness is a really good one. I mean, I love the Star Wars movies and everything, and but to pick those would be like, duh.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I
Indiana Jones would be a duh for me, and I don't.
Yeah, those are great movies, but those don't really define his true acting talents.
Yeah.
So
he's supposed to be in Captain America: Brave New World.
Yeah, he was in the. Yeah, I think so. Well, yeah, because I think he's gonna play.
And Thunderbolts.
Yeah, he's gonna play what's his face. Thunderbolt Ross or whatever his name is. He's the general, and he'll be playing Red Hulk.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, but I'm thinking that I'm probably gonna go with either, man, The Fugitive, because The Fugitive is really good, or I don't know. Blade Runner's pretty good, man. I like him in Blade Runner, but I think I'm gonna go with The Fugitive. I love The Fugitive, man. That's such a good movie, for him and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the really good part in that movie is when he's like, I didn't kill my wife, and Tommy Lee Jones is like, I don't care.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't kill my wife. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah, he's like, I'm here to do my job.
Yeah, he's just doing his job to bring him in, and that's all he cares about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the one that you have to try to.
You don't have to convince me. I don't
movies
care.
are.
Yeah.
I know what Star Wars is, but I never took time to sit down and watch them.
You don't have to. You already know everything you need to know.
I know.
What, Star Wars?
Yeah, but Star Wars is great.
You sat down and
It's
watched
really
Lord of the
not.
Rings.
I've
You
tried
can't watch.
to. I tried to.
If you
I
can watch
tried to
Lord of
sit
the
through
Rings, you can
first
definitely watch Star Wars.
No,
Yes.
because I've
True.
tried to sit through the first Star Wars before, and I can't. I get up and do something else.
I think
just
you
like
need
with
me
The
there,
Nightmare
like I
Before
did with
Christmas.
Lord of the Rings, to give you a little bit of context. That way you're not like lost in it. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
because you give away spoilers
watched 'em.
throughout the whole show.
I watched all of them.
What?
The Star Wars movies.
Yeah, I've watched every single one.
So have I.
I've watched all the Rings.
I've watched all the Lord of the Rings. I've watched all.
It's
the
an
I've seen all of
acquired
those
taste.
too. I just think they're boring.
I don't think
You
they're
drop a
boring. I think
ring
they're
and
awesome.
throw a ring and
Yeah.
skip up to the loo and then
I
throw
think
another ring.
that he did a perfect analogy in Clerks 2. That was a perfect analogy of the Lord of the Rings movies.
All right, let's
Sorry.
move on here. What's everybody? Let's get into what everybody's been watching.
What the hell have you been watching?
Start with Madison, I guess.
I only watched one thing this week.
You didn't watch Lord of the Rings for the 30th time?
I didn't have time.
At least she's honest.
I did watch One Piece though. They're 20-minute episodes, so.
Okay. Karen, what'd you watch?
I watched a lot.
That doesn't surprise me.
Somebody should watch movies.
Somebody
This is
needs
a
to watch-
movie
Yeah, somebody
podcast.
needs to watch movies, right? I'm a busy dude. I was in a car accident today. Like,
Oh, he's gonna pull that one out. Like,
He's
oh,
pulling- he's
feel
pulling
feel
car
bad
out,
for me.
man.
I was in a car
It'll
accident.
be 3 months from now. I was in a car accident. Okay.
He'll still be using
I'm
that.
still
God.
traumatized.
Okay, I had the shakes earlier. Okay.
I watched that.
Being on flashbacks.
I watched that Lady Ballers movie. It was actually pretty funny.
Lady
it?
Ballers.
I thought they were kind of laying it on thick, but then like as the movie progresses, you realize that's part of like where the funny's gonna come from.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning, there's these two news anchors or whatever, and they're laying it on real thick, and then they get pulled for like, sensitivity training or whatever. And then the next time you see them, they're a little bit more sensitive and a little bit more sensitive and a little bit more sensitive. And then by the time you like get to them at the end, like one's got like one extremely white woman has got like, braids and calling herself like some African American name.
Shaniqua.
And like, they're really woke by the end. It's really funny. I thought it was hilarious. I watched that Mind Cage movie. And then I finished Dope Sick. I watched The Beast in Heat. I watched Christie. They Look Like People. The Curse. Ichi the Killer.
I heard They Look Like People was a good movie. Was it?
I didn't care for it.
Ichi the Killer is definitely an acquired taste.
I didn't care for it either.
Ichi the Killer, I don't like it either.
Story
I remember
wise,
back in high school, I was like, oh, you gotta watch this movie, blah, 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 blah. I watched, I was like, this movie is fucking retarded.
story wise, it fell flat for me. Like everything good about it was just like the violence factor. Everything else,
Yeah, it was gore heavy for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
and then
but that was like
everything
early
else-
2000s Japan movies all around. Like,
Yeah,
they were like, how gory and disgusting can we make our movies?
yeah, pretty much. And then like the movie or the story was just flat. Like it started out really good, and then it kind of just.
Yeah.
Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS.
Wow. Okay.
Jeremiah pick.
I'm sure.
Under the Skin. Found.
I've heard that one. That's
I didn't care
another-
for it either.
Is that another werewolf or?
No,
No.
it's
That's-
Alien. It's got
Oh, that was the one with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
that one is.
I heard like she was like embarrassed about it at first, but now she's kind of really like liked it. It's like a cult classic, so I thought I'd check
It has
out.
become a bit of a classic. I know it's one where like it's very atmospheric, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think I've seen it. I think I watched it once. I don't remember.
I didn't care for it.
But yeah, it wasn't that great to where it was like super memorable to me.
Yeah,
and I do
care
know
for
that
it.
you get to see Scarlett Johansson naked in it,
Yeah, you do.
which is a
A
positive.
few times. Found Mr. Creep, The Dark, and that was terrible.
What
Mr.
is
Creep,
it?
that was terrible.
Mr. Creep.
Yeah. The Dark and the Wicked and The Prince of Darkness.
How many movies do you watch a day?
Over the weekend? Maybe 2 or 3. Depends on how much time I have. Over this weekend, I don't have anything going on. It's too damn cold, and I
Well,
wasn't
just sit in
going
the
anywhere.
house and watch movies.
Yeah, Eric, what'd you watch, man?
So I don't remember if I mentioned Lady Ballers last week or not.
Yeah,
I
you
You
think
said
I
you
did.
started it.
Yeah, so I watched that, and then I watched The Mind Cage, and then
Where's
I watched.
Mind Cage? Did I?
That's the one we discussed.
That's the one that he sent to everybody.
Yeah, that we discussed. You said you thought it looked cheap.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which in some scenes, like what you said about them driving, I do kind of see how that, or you said that.
In the movie it looked cheap too.
Yeah, like the driving scene kind of looked a little cheap, but
if they can't show like an actual driving scene, then don't show them in the car.
Yeah, so there were things I
mean, sorry,
I fairly enjoyed some parts of the movie. Now the ending kind of, I kind of knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know the aspect of it.
Would you watch it again?
Probably not.
What would you rate it?
The ending killed it for me.
I'm gonna put it like this. To me, that movie was so paint by number.
That's what I got from it.
By the end,
paint by number and cheap.
That by the end, they didn't even follow their own breadcrumbs for the ending. That it made it worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, if you're going to be that paint by number, then you should at least follow your own breadcrumbs.
Rating? Mm-hmm. Maybe a 5.
What about you, Karen?
5 seems fair.
Fair. Okay.
Like
middle of the road. You're like, I'll never watch it again, but it wasn't the worst thing I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
It had its own twist to it.
Yeah, I had high hopes. I had this I don't know, 90s vibe for it going, or those
I could
thrillers.
See that through the trailer too. Like it had this 90s.
Those thrillers like with Denzel Washington
and I liked seeing Martin Lawrence come out with like a comedy skit more into a serious part.
Was the thing. That was one thing that killed it for me. Like, no matter what he was doing in that movie,
I couldn't to crack a joke.
I couldn't get past it.
Yeah. You couldn't get past it?
I could not.
He's in that, man. There's no getting away from that for him. Like, dude, he's
been doing it for too long, and he didn't break out of it soon enough. Like, I just can't. I could not turn it off, and I was trying. I really was, because I like it when they break out. But with him, I just like every time. It's his voice too. You know what I mean? Like, in his inflection. Every time he would say something in certain like tones and inflections, it was like, that wasn't meant to be funny.
There's no jokes here.
That wasn't a joke. Sorry.
Is that it, Eric?
And Skip Trace.
Is that the one with Jackie Chan and
the
dude
Johnny
from
Knoxville?
Jacket? Yeah. Okay.
That sounded familiar.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was pretty comical, and it was a lot of action in it too. So I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I think that's all I watched. Fortune Fire.
I didn't watch any movies this week. I watched some shows. Today I did get an episode of It's Always Sunny in. It was nice because the boys went upstairs to eat their dinner. So I was like, yes.
Get out of here.
Get to watch some Sunny.
It
was the episode where they were on Family Fight. So they should have just let Charlie play the whole game. So anyway.
Charlie's a favorite.
I watched a stand-up last night called from a guy named Dusty Slay. Or no, that was today. I watched that today. I almost fell asleep. But he was okay, I guess. He's hillbilly-ish. Long hair. It's on Netflix. I don't know. I just clicked on it. I was like, why not? I'll check somebody new out. And he was all right. Crystal really liked him. Some of his jokes were funny. But he had like this very like fidgety manner, like he was kind of nervous to be on stage and that. But whatever, he was all right. I'd recommend him, I guess, because he's probably good comedy for somebody.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So,
I did see something on Prime Video that made me crack up laughing. There's a Terminatrix on Prime Video.
Of course, there is.
And oh my god, it looks so fucking just like
Terminatrix,
like home video kind of like made.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, it looked terrible. Karen, you should check it out. Let me know.
Why didn't you tell me that off air? Because now I'm not gonna have a choice.
Now she's got to watch it.
Terminatrix.
She's got to please the fans.
No,
she got to please her husband.
Watch this.
Yeah, because now he's gonna be like, we should watch that.
Mm-hmm.
I also watched. We've been watching One Piece still. We're slowly getting through it. It's not that it's bad. It's just we watch an episode during dinner. So
sorry, I've been watching the anime One Piece.
We've been watching. Oh God, that makes you special.
No, I just wanted to make sure there was a difference between what you've been watching and what I've been watching.
Yeah, I'm watching the live action one, which is pretty good.
You guys got like an episode left.
I didn't even
maybe
turn the
two.
volume on.
I think we have a couple episodes left.
Still got like.
Also, what are you guys doing?
I'm showing her the
He's gonna show me a
trailer
clip.
clip of it.
It looks bad from here.
It's
It's animated, but it's
not animated.
Oh, it's not.
No, it's not.
Why does it look animated?
Because it's the Turna animated tricks.
Dude, somebody shot this on their iPhone.
I'm serious. It's literally like terrible.
Oh yeah, that looks awesome. Yeah, Jeremiah, you should totally watch this, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't
On
have a great
repeat.
budget.
All day on a Saturday.
There you go.
You can watch it in the
Anyway,
basement.
I also finished The Haunting of Hill House. Finally, I think we only had 2 episodes left, so we were just like, hey, let's finish this off. The ending kind of didn't land for me in it. It kind of disappointed me a little bit. I wanted more out of it, I guess. It just kind of felt me. It left me feeling like I wanted more. You know what I mean? Like I felt like more should have happened, I guess.
I feel like that with a lot of his endings, like that.
Yeah.
It's like
sometimes it's kind of like,
but it's like how do you?
It builds up and then it's like a dud. You know
but
what
it's
I mean?
like I always feel that way at the end. It's like, but how did I want it to end? And I can never.
I wanted
answer
more
that. I
out
don't
of
know.
the ending because with this, like they built up this house to be like this sinister thing, and then like they're just in that red room for the last like episode, and nothing great really happens.
I think it's like another one of those things where it's like you've built it up, or it's been built up so much that no matter what ending you give it.
I really like the one in Midnight Mass. Like, I don't think you could have ended that any more climactically.
I didn't like that either, though, because like I always said, like I wanted something more, you know?
Right.
And it was the same thing with the House of Usher. It's like
that one kind of fell a little dead. But if I had to,
my biggest problem with the House of Usher was that it felt cheated to me. And I can say it now because Jeremiah finally did watch it. But like,
so I think with my Mike Flanagan list so far, I've seen everything except for The Haunting of Bly Manor, I believe.
that one's not great.
I'm not really interested, so I'm gonna put that dead last just because I haven't seen it. But then it would go the Midnight Club or whatever it is. I didn't like that show either. And then I'm gonna say, and then probably The Haunting of Hill House, and then Fall of House Usher, and then Midnight Mass. That's my order. And I'm not gonna put Gerald's Game in there because that's a movie. So.
Yeah. No, the problem I had with Usher was that the brother and sister, Roderick and Madeline, they wouldn't have done that at the end.
No, yeah, I see where you're coming from there, but like the rest of the show
that was
fantastic.
so uncharacteristic.
Right, I agree. But like nothing beats Midnight Mass for me. I fucking love that miniseries. That was great.
It was beautifully done.
Yeah.
And the characters were beautifully written.
It was nice seeing what's her face, his wife or whatever. The hell's her name?
Yeah, I can never remember her
It was
real
nice
name.
seeing her in a role where she wasn't a complete bitch.
Yeah.
You know, because she's a bitch in everything. Like
she really is.
Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I'm like the one thing that I liked about the ending of Haunting of Hill House is I'm glad Luke, the drug addict one, didn't die. Yeah. That was gonna piss me off because like, come on, dude. Like,
yeah, you wanted to see.
He
him.
was kind of my favorite character because he was the one that was like, you know,
you wanted to see him make it.
They could have killed every other sibling except him, and I'd have been okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, also I finished Silo, which is that show on.
This video is going to mean
oh yeah,
yeah.
a lot of my audience, but I want to make it anyway because it's that important.
Well, you go ahead and do it.
He had some input.
go nuts.
This has never happened in the history of gaming.
Oh.
Apparently,
This is because they brought back City of Heroes. They didn't bring it back, but somebody never mind. Nobody cares. This ain't a gaming podcast. Anyway, I watched Silo, and that was they left that open ambiguously. So there will definitely be another season of that. That and it also did really well rating wise. I would definitely recommend that show because it is definitely like one of them shows. Which there's a lot of filler in there that I didn't like. It was one of them shows where I'm like, you could cut all this out. It's really not necessary. to move this show along. Look, you could have cut this 10 episode season down to like 6 to 8 episodes if you'd cut some of this bullshit out. One of those things. So there were like parts where I was like, you can cut this out completely. I don't even know why this is here. So
I hate that.
yeah,
Especially in a series because they're already long. Like they're already going to have several episodes.
I'm starting to get that feeling of being impatient with shows now, especially like the House of Hill House, Haunting of Hill House. That show, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of filler in this fucking series. Like there's a lot of filler, and I'm like, they could cut some of this bullshit out. But I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to take each episode and dedicate it to one of the siblings, and then there was one for the dad, and there was one for the mom, and I get that, but
well, that's what Mike Flanagan does. He rounds out every character.
Yeah, he rounds out every character in an episode, which is fine. That's a good. I like that way that he goes with those shows.
What he does with his shows is what good authors do in books. They really round out the characters so that when you get into the story, you have a really good idea of who they are. And that's what
he was trying to do with the Midnight Club. He was trying to flesh out all of his characters in the first season, and then he had planned on a second season, which obviously didn't come to fruition because he's done with Netflix now. So, but
yeah.
I hope he does good things. Maybe he'll get to keep it going. But honestly, I didn't care for Midnight Club. I thought it was like, I don't know, a PG-13 version of, I don't know, fucking Are You Afraid of the Dark? Like, that's what it felt like to me. So I just wasn't a fan. I like Are You Afraid of the Dark because that's meant for kids. This is a show that was made for like teens and adults that felt like it should have just been made for kids. That's what it felt like.
Have you ever gone back and watched Are You Afraid of the Dark now?
No.
I have.
I have too.
No. I should go back and watch some of them old Goosebumps episodes though.
I go back and watch Are You Afraid of the Dark, and I'm like, how did this ever fool me? How did I ever not know what was going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Goosebumps is the same way. Like Goosebumps, you're like, you could call it.
Because I knew. Like Goosebumps never fooled me. I don't know.
Yeah, because you're like, you could call that because you're like, every ending is always like,
it's never what.
It's never a positive ending. It's always like,
It always ends with the glowing eyes in the dark.
Yeah, or like the one episode where the kids, there's a vampire coming after these kids in their home and blah blah blah, and then they like find this vampire den below their house and blah blah blah. Turns out, oh yeah, well it's they're twins and it's their birthday. Well, on that birthday, becoming teenagers, they get their fangs, and the vampire that's been in their house is actually their grandfather.
Yeah, it never.
And it's like okay, like you know what I mean? It's just like
it
one
never
of those,
turns out like the way that it's.
It's like Tales from the Crypt.
Do you guys remember that one?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that one where it's like their dad created this weird kind of like plant clone of him, and then it cloned him, and it took his place, and then they had to make a choice
don't
by
stay
the
out
end.
of the basement.
Yeah, I think I remember that one.
They had
actually
to make a choice whether or not to shoot that one or that one.
And it was the wrong one.
Yeah, they shot the wrong one, but they didn't know.
That's fucking sadistic shit.
Some of them were, well, that was just like Tales from the Crypt. Some of them, 99% of them were like, they taught you a lesson. And then there was always that one off that was like, well, fuck it. Bad or the good guy's gonna get it this time.
All right.
You ever check out that Last Kingdom yet?
No.
I
think the next thing I'm gonna watch is that new Monarch show.
Okay.
I think I want to check that one out because I love Godzilla. It's got Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell.
The Last Kingdom will be one of those things you have to like devote a little bit of time to because there's.
Yeah, that's one of the things too. Like if I watch it, I want to watch it with Crystal. That's something that she'd get into because I need to finish Vikings. Really, I never finished that, but I don't know if I ever will. Yeah. After Ragnar died, I was like, I don't care.
Yeah,
about this show
for
anymore.
Vikings, when Ragnar dies,
you did the same thing with Rick.
It really dies down. But like for the last Kingdom, the main character he lives throughout the whole thing. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'll check it out eventually. I know my buddy Seth really talked it up and stuff too. He really liked it.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the movie this week, Blade Runner.
Woo! Let's talk about the movie.
Man, this is a doozy. I'll be honest with you, man. It was kind of hard to sit through it this time.
I agree.
Like, I've seen it once before, and I loved it. But I think this is a movie that you really have to be in the mood for. Like, I really do think that's what it is. I see why it's a cult classic and why it's got its following. It's fucking gorgeous for as
It
old
is.
as
It's
it is.
visually stunning.
Yeah, the visuals in it are like the world felt fucking lived in. Like it felt like a dingy Chicago. You know what I mean? Like cyberpunk Chicago.
Yeah.
What you imagine, like how dirty it is and grungy, and it's just
the design they put for this world
it's
was
insane.
beautiful. It was
It's
perfect.
fucking insane. Like honestly, I don't even think that 2049 even holds a candle to this one. Like
That's because
in
it's all
that aspect.
practical. I'm sure that they went.
No, like
No?
some of it, yeah, probably, but like I'm saying, like even the design of everything, like they built real sets for this movie and everything, but like 2049 was like it just didn't look as lived in, and like it wasn't like dingy, and I don't know, man, it didn't feel as natural as this one did. You know what I mean?
No, they always
So-
did it better back then. They could do dingy. I mean,
they throw a bunch of trash around,
well,
and they're like, look, it
dystopian.
looks
They
like
did. Nobody did dystopian like the 80s.
right.
Nobody.
I agree. And it was realistic too, and the shit looked real. Like you thought, wow, this looks like somewhere. This is like downtown Chicago right here, or like the fucking like back alley of New York City or something, where
Yeah.
you could get robbed or shot or whatever.
Gotham City.
Gotham City, like it looks like somewhere like somebody just dumps their trash out their fucking window on the third floor. You know, like it just trash everywhere.
Because they don't want to take out trash.
Well, just that's how them big cities get. They get fucking nasty. Like if you watch a lot of TV shows. I know one of them, a big one was Portland. People said that because I used to watch Grimm, which is a show I don't remember what it was on, but
Netflix, I believe.
no, it was on an actual network.
Oh.
And I used to watch Grimm, and then at the same time, they were also doing Portlandia, which both of those shows were filmed in Portland. And I heard that like it was so bad that like they had to send actual cleaning crews in before they'd shoot scenes in certain areas of Portland because of how just dirty it is and
Law and
how
Order had to do
all
same
the
thing.
trash, because of all the trash just laying around and how crummy people were. Like they had to go in, like, because you like watch the show and you're like, wow, Portland looks awesome, but it's not. It's apparently a really dirty city. So, but anyway, who's gonna read?
Do you want me to?
I don't care who reads, as long as you do it post haste.
I will post hastily read.
Post tastely?
Hastily.
Post hastily.
Get it right.
So like said post tastely.
Post hastily.
Potastely?
Potatoes.
Potatoes now.
How did we
We're talking
go from
about
post haste to potatoes?
I just had a potato.
This is a little bit
Potato,
long. It's not
tomato,
terrible though.
tomato.
Let's try to get through it quickly. Let's not screw around about it.
You guys are the ones that always interrupt me and then talk forever.
Yeah, because that's the point of this podcast.
I thought you talked afterwards.
Karen, tell her to shut up. Shut up.
See? Karen's got my back. Ain't
No,
that
she
right,
just
Karen?
didn't want to tell you to shut up because she didn't want to be mean.
See? Exactly.
Whatever, Karen.
Yeah.
Was that directed at me or her?
You guys can take it whichever way you want.
I'm
I'm
looking
gonna
at
take
her.
it at her. Or him.
Yeah, her.
Oh, anyways,
Jeff's
Blade
gonna be the
Runner.
next lady bowler with the beard.
Okay, dude. Hey,
Get
I'll put on a bra and grow some titties if it's gonna bring some views.
Put dreads
The
in
thing,
your
you don't
put
even
dreads
need,
in
you
your
don't even
beard.
need a bra. You just
Dad.
have to call yourself
Dad.
a lady.
Yeah, that's all you gotta do. Wear a pink dress.
That's true. Yeah.
Tight braids and dreads in your beard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo.
Paint my fingernails pink.
There you go.
Maybe black.
Make a blog.
I don't know about the whole pink thing. Anyways, in Los Angeles in November 2019,
favorite.
Rick Deckard, Harrison
First off,
Ford, a retired.
That's awesome that this takes place in 2019.
Yeah, I don't
Right.
remember any of this. Do you?
Any of what?
No.
Any of this?
Movie?
No. This happened in 2019.
Oh, no, I don't remember any of this happening. Maybe it did happen in Chicago.
Who knows
It
what's
says
going on
LA.
in that state?
LA? LA's pretty dirty,
I've
too.
never been to LA though, so maybe it did happen.
I heard it's
just
pretty
didn't hear
dirty.
about it.
Yeah.
A
I
retired,
love that they always choose, like, LA and popular cities like that instead of, like, choosing, like, I don't know, like Boston,
Everything happened in L.A., Detroit, and Chicago
in New York.
back then. Oh yeah, in New York.
New York,
Mhm.
yeah,
Or Washington.
Are we good?
yeah.
I gotta
that was
finish
more
the first
90s,
sentence
2000s.
first.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah.
I gotta finish the first
Go ahead.
sentence.
Yeah, it was
A
90s.
retired police officer
Yeah,
is
I can see.
arrested at a noodle bar by another officer, Gaff, Edward James Olmos. At the police station, his former supervisor, Bryant, tells him that several replicants, sophisticated, biologically engineered humanoid beings that serve as soldiers and slaves in colonies on other planets, have escaped and come to Earth in violation of law. As a Blade Runner, while active, Deckard's job was to track down replicants who had come to Earth and retire them, which means execute them to anybody that didn't know. I did read that part of the whole spiel at the beginning. Why did you look at me like that?
Just waiting for you to keep
I
reading.
will say though, in the 2049 one, when Ryan Gosling had to kill Batista, that was kind of messed up.
Yeah, I've never seen the first or second one.
Neither have I.
Oh, shut up, Eric.
Well, why didn't you cover yours? Earmuffs.
Your earmuffs. Exactly.
Yeah,
Did you ever see any of their conversations, like when they were promoting this movie? Him and Ryan
No.
Gosling or whatever. They were hilarious.
Oh yeah. He used to be like, they used to kind of bash on each other.
It was like
and then Ryan Gosling would be like, "Who is this guy anyway?"
Or no, he would always call him. Harrison Ford would call him a different name every time.
Yeah.
He'd be like Brad, John.
Yeah, I remember that. They used to fuck with each other.
Like
man.
when the first time that I seen one, when he was like, they always say, don't meet your hero." Don't. You know, like,
Yeah.
and then like the one that was real though was when Ryan Gosling was telling the story about how one of the first scenes that they did together was the one where he punches him.
Yeah.
And he actually punched him.
He actually punched him. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Deckard agreed to help track down Leon and 3 other replicants, Roy Batty, Zora, and Pris, only after Bryant threatens him. These replicants, Tyrell Corporation Nexus 6 models, have a 4-year lifespan as a failsafe to prevent them from developing emotions and desire for independence. They may have come to Earth to try to have these lifespans extended. Deckard is then teamed with Gaff and sent to the Tyrell Corporation to ensure that the Void
Comp.
test works on Nexus 6 models. While there, Deckard discovers that Tyrell's young assistant, Rachel, is an experimental replicant who believes she is a human. Rachel's consciousness has been enhanced with implanted childhood memories from Tyrell's niece. As a result, it requires a more extensive Void comp, a test conducted by Deckard to identify her as a replicant. During this tense situation, Rachel suggests that Deckard himself undergoes the same test. Roy and Leon enter the eye manufactory of Chew. Under interrogation, Chew directs them to J.F. Sebastian as their best chance of meeting Tyrell. Later, Rachel visits Deckard at his apartment to prove her humanity to him, showing him a family photo. She leaves in tears after Deckard tells her that her memories are implants. While that's like a girl finding out that her tits are implants. Like, what?
It's not the same thing.
No.
It's
Not the same thing at all.
it's the same thing. Oh, man.
One's a little bit more traumatic.
Yeah.
I'd say it's
Just
more
a
I
like...
would
little
be
bit.
absolutely devastated to find out that like everything that I thought I knew about myself wasn't real.
Yeah, that'd be
That
more
is
like if you
everything
found
about
out like
yourself.
this isn't
No,
your
my
real
tits are not nearly as important to
I
me
think-
as like my mother
yeah.
or my father or
I would
my
say it would
brother
be
or my
more like-
cousins or
Does
my...
she
I think it
ever
would be
meet
more
them?
like if you found out that like your parents weren't actually your parents, they actually kidnapped you as a child, and they just, you know,
Don't tell her that way because she's going to find out.
Shut up, Joseph.
she wouldn't go anywhere anyway. It's called Stockholm Syndrome.
No, that's true.
I have issues.
Jesus Christ.
See? She ain't going anywhere.
She's definitely your daughter.
Alright, I didn't steal her. She's actually mine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you sure? Is your hair black or brown?
Blonde.
Really?
Dyes it every morning before you wake up.
Why is there still gray then?
I guess mix it in a little bit.
Yeah, it adds to the illusion that I don't dye it.
A little ash.
Yeah. Just read the thing. Get over here.
But what if it like falls out?
It won't fall out. I do it every morning.
Yeah.
That's why it's so cool. It's just this one streak right here. Like that's there because
You're starting to get the other streak though.
yeah, I know. I'm
starting
starting
to
to
get
set
the
up that
snake
illusion
bites.
so I can get it both going on. You know
You're
how bad
getting
that's
them
braid,
snake
you
that way
need
you
to
can
braid
even it
just the
out.
gray piece.
Yeah.
Dad,
So
you're
it's all
getting
upside.
them snake bites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just
Just I actually drool in my sleep. It's just dyeing my,
yeah, that's what
my
it is.
beard.
All that bleach is getting to you, period. You said you're
What's in your
75%
spit?
water, you mean 75% bleach. Not 75%
All right, just read it.
water. Meanwhile, Pris meets JF Sebastian and he invites her into his apartment in the Bradbury building where he lives with his manufacturer companions. Deckard uses a computer scanner to find an image of Zora in Leon's photos. Deckard goes to an area of the city where genetically engineered artificial animals are sold to analyze a scale found in Leon's bathroom. He learns that it came from a snake made by Abdul bin Hassan. Anyways, after a rough interrogation, the snake dealer directs Deckard to a strip club where Zora works. After a struggle in Zora's changing room and a chase through the crowded streets and her pepperoni nips, after a struggle in Zora's, Deckard retires Zora, whose death takes a place in slow motion as she struggles.
And
to
nobody
flee.
bats an eye.
Well, I'm sure that that's not the first time they've ever
Yeah.
seen it. I want to know why she put on a clear coat.
Right.
That's what I
What
didn't
was
get.
the point?
I noticed it had sleeves inside of the clear thing, though. I was
Yeah.
like, that is such a weird fucking. It's not even practical.
I don't
Like,
even. I mean, maybe if it was raining, but
Yeah,
it
right.
was actually one of the few outside.
Yeah, one of the
scenes that
outside
wasn't-
scenes that wasn't raining. Yeah, it was actually dry.
Maybe she was expecting it to be raining out.
Just gotta make sure that poof doesn't go anywhere.
I guess.
Poofy effort.
I was figuring maybe if it was raining, then she was trying to keep her metal bra from rusting, maybe, but it wasn't raining, so.
Her metal bra that wasn't on all the way.
No,
It was just part of the outfit, so she had to complete it. That's all it was.
Just
it
fashion
was
model.
clear.
It gripped her body.
Okay.
Anyways,
I thought it looked dumb too.
Yeah.
I love even more that she like punched him in the throat and then like took the time to put the jacket on.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
why didn't you just
The
run?
pointless
The
coat.
pointless jacket that was completely unnecessary.
And she was planning to run, but she still put on heels.
yep.
Made sense.
Deckard
Well, I mean, she was a
retires
robot,
Zora,
so she could run in anything.
whose death
Maybe.
takes place in slow motion as she struggles
Technically, they're
to
not
flee.
robots though.
They're
They're genetically engineered humans, is what they are.
yeah.
They're made
Humanoids.
Yeah, they're made
human
humans.
androids.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it would be an android of some kind, or what do they call those? They're like
Well, like there was
Cyborgs?
something I read.
no, cyborg is magnetic.
There was something I read that like even their
mechanical.
bones, the only way you can tell the difference between a human bone and a replicant bone is that a replicant bone has serial numbers on it.
Right, which would make
They're
sense.
that close to human.
That which would make sense because of the
Like that, they don't have any like mechanical, like even when they get shot, it's blood and stuff. Like they
Yeah.
don't have any like mechanical. Like if you opened up their stomach, it wouldn't be like
It'd be
They'd
his
have
stomach.
circuits and
They'd
stuff.
have guts and
They would
everything.
have like.
But the thing
organs.
is, like, you would think it'd be something that they'd be able to pinpoint because they shouldn't have belly buttons because they weren't technically born.
well, they make them so that they would look like.
Right, so they just have.
Because like remember they go in there and like that one guy's making eyes. Like
Yeah.
they look like real eyes.
Right.
Like everything for a replicant is created organically.
Right.
So they're not really androids necessarily. They're more organic than they are. I mean, they still are, I guess.
You would think they would just grow
robots,
them,
but-
you know what I mean? Instead of making the eyes separate and have to, like, who does that? Who's the surgeon that has to put those eyes in?
I don't know. I
That's
think
some really fucking tactical shit.
And
I
why does it
think
gotta
maybe
be
it's
really
like, maybe
cold
it's a
in
god
there?
trip for them.
Right. Why does it have to be? I guess to preserve it.
Yeah, but I mean, you would think the goo and all that shit that's surrounding the eyeball would solidify in that kind of cold temperature because the dude froze in like a
Are they
matter of
canceling
10
tomorrow?
minutes.
Schools are calling.
I
Oh,
know.
yeah. Fuck.
I wonder if that's like a god complex for that Tyrell guy, just to like make his replicants as close to God could, create humans. You know what I mean?
It's so weird. I don't know. Like this movie is I realized watching it this time because I've seen it once before, and watching it this time, it is a hard movie to follow because not only is there not a lot of dialogue, but the dialogue you do get is so hard to hear sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not just that; it's like broken.
Yeah, it is kind of broken too. So it's almost like they took certain dialogue scenes and kind of just mashed them together, and you got to kind of put it together. I don't know.
If I'm being real, I don't care for the way that this movie was put together.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
I get the story. They put enough in there to understand the story.
Dad had to explain it to me.
I had to explain it to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm slow.
The bare bones.
She didn't even realize that
it's fucked.
The bare bones of the story is there, but
Not pretty good.
the bare bones of the story is there, but that beyond that, they didn't do a good enough job, in my opinion, of putting dialogue in there to
give you context,
give a good context. And what they do give you is almost like they're trying to confuse people. And then, I don't know.
I agree. I agree with you like a lot on that, actually. Let's continue, though. We'll get to that at the end.
Okay. After struggle, Deckard retires Zora, whose death takes place in slow motion as she struggles to flee. Deckard meets with Bryant shortly after and is told to add Rachel to his list of retirements as
Schools
she is
are closed tomorrow.
Yes.
Too cold.
But they didn't close today.
No,
the roads were dog shit this morning, and they didn't close the fucking schools.
Mm-hmm.
Literally woke up this morning.
Isn't it supposed to be tomorrow?
Yeah, it says due to excessive cold.
We
Yeah, but
live
it was colder today than it's supposed to be tomorrow.
We live on the school road, right,
Isn't
Karen?
it?
I don't think so.
We live on the school road. I went downstairs and I looked out the window this morning. I looked at Gavin and I said, "Is there a delay?"
It's because of the wind chill tomorrow.
Oh.
It's supposed to be windy as fuck tomorrow.
Good.
What does the windshield matter if you're slipping and sliding and die?
Well, the wind chill, because it's going to be so cold, but with the wind chill, it's going to... Wait, hold on. It's not even going to be that windy, really. Oh, I guess it will be.
What's the wind chill going to be? Is it like bring it down to
We're
like
getting
negative?
20 to 30 mile an hour winds tomorrow, on top of it only being like 9 degrees in the morning, 4 degrees in the morning. So on top of that wind, it's going to be like, it's going to feel more like
negative
negative
16.
20. So it's going to be pretty shitty tomorrow. But anyway, continue.
Alright, so
the car
Deckard
starts.
meets with Bryant shortly after and is told to add Rachel to his list of retirements as she has disappeared from the Tyrell Corporation headquarters. Deckard spots Rachel in the crowd and follows her, but is grabbed and brutally beaten by Leon. Rachel saves Deckard by shooting and killing Leon, and the two head back to Deckard's apartment where Deckard roughly initiates sex.
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't
That
initiate,
was-
he demands that.
Yeah,
Look,
he was.
that was fucking rapey as
That was,
hell.
that was
big
borderline
time
rape,
rapey.
dude.
Uh-huh.
That was borderline
I
rape.
was
He's
like,
like, tell me to kiss you.
Yeah.
Tell me you want me to kiss you. And I'm like, damn, dude. Like,
I know, I was
yeah.
sitting here, I was like, does she want to?
Yeah, and then at the end he's like, "Tell me you love me." I mean, are we still in a consensual? I'm not sure. Like, is this consensual or not? Because I'm not sure. Like, even still, like, maybe she's with him just to save her own neck. Like, who the fuck knows?
yeah.
That's not very clear either.
Yeah, it was pretty, it gave off some,
Oh,
some
it didn't
rapey
give
vibes.
it off. It was definitely rape.
yeah, I was just like, Jesus.
I'm sorry, but that was,
like, it was
that was
I mean,
fucking rape.
I get, like, maybe, he's definitely in it
being
for the
real
right
pushy,
reasons because he
yeah.
didn't kill her and he's risking everything. But is she?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I'll just... Okay.
Yeah, Rugger and Blade Runner. Back at... what the heck?
I think you're calling him Blade Runner. His name is Deckard.
That's what they're calling him. It said Rudger in Blade Runner. That's one sentence. Back at Sebastian's apartment, Roy arrives, kisses Pris deeply, and tells her that they are the only ones left. They gain Sebastian's help by explaining their plight in a subtly threatening manner. Roy discovers that Sebastian, though human, is suffering from a genetic disorder that accelerates his aging. He sympathizes with Sebastian because of their common fate. Under the pretext of Sebastian informing Tyrell of a move for a game of correspondence chess that the two were playing. Roy and Sebastian enter Tyrell's penthouse. Roy demands an extension of his lifespan from his maker. Tyrell explains that Tyrell Corporation had tried many approaches but had never found a way to accomplish this. Roy then asks for absolution of his sins, confessing that he has done questionable things. Tyrell arrogantly dismisses them, praising Roy's advanced design and his amazing accomplishments. He tells Roy to revel in his time, to which Roy comments, "Nothing the gods of biomechanics wouldn't let you into the heavens for." Roy then holds Tyrell's head in his hands, kisses him, and kills him. He kissed him, too. He kissed him. Sebastian...
Again, I don't think that was consensual.
No, but he's a replicant. What has he got to lose? He's got like a day left to live.
Mm-hmm. Sebastian, watching in horror, begins to run for the elevator with Roy following. Roy rides the elevator down alone, and Sebastian is not seen again. I guess he isn't, is he? Where'd he go?
He killed him.
He did.
It was definitely implied that he killed him.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he definitely had a lot more time to run instead of waiting until he squished his head.
Yeah. I'd have taken that elevator straight down.
Yeah. I
Bye.
wouldn't have waited.
Well, I got you here. I'll see you guys later.
Oh.
I got you in. I'm
I
out.
don't feel bad for him. Deckard arrives at Sebastian's apartment and is ambushed by Pris. He retires her just as Roy returns. Angrily, Roy manages to punch through a wall, grab Deckard's right arm, proceed to break 2 of his fingers in retaliation for killing Zora and Pris. Roy releases Deckard and gives him a little time to run before he begins to hunt him through the dilapidated Bradbury building. However, not too long into the hunt, the symptoms of Roy's limited lifespan worsen and his right hand begins to fail, so he jabs a nail through it to regain control. Able again, albeit temporarily. Roy eventually forces Deckard to the roof. As Deckard attempts to escape Roy, he leaps across to another building, but falls short and ends up hanging from a rain-slicked girder. Okay. It looked like a gargoyle. Was it a gargoyle?
No, it was like a I don't know, it was like a thing that just went down, out and down. It was weird.
Oh, okay. Roy, holding a white dove, easily vaults the same distance and is left standing above his struggling opponent. As Deckard loses his grip, Roy seizes his arm and easily hauls him onto the roof, saving Deckard. As Roy's life fades away, he sits and delivers a brief soliloquy. Can't say that word for the love of life of me.
You said it right, soliloquy.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, soliloquy. Oh. About the experiences of his life. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I've watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time like tears in rain. Time to die. He then dies, and the white...
I gotta say, that is probably the most beautiful part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Was him fading away like that. And I believe it was also completely not scripted.
The only thing that wasn't scripted was the tears in the rain part. The rest of it was bits and pieces of the script that he took and used.
Made it his own.
Yeah, made it his own. And then he ad-libbed that part at the end.
Okay.
He then dies and the white dove flies away from him. From a distance, Goff shouts over to Deckard. It's too bad she won't live, but then again, who does? A worried Deckard returns to his apartment and is relieved to find Rachel alive. As they leave, Deckard finds an original origami unicorn and a calling card left by Gaff. Depending on the version, the film ends with Deckard and Rachel either leaving the apartment block to an uncertain future or driving through an idyllic pastoral landscape. The end.
So what was up with the origami?
So the origami, so the way it's supposed to be interpreted, because you remember the dream that he had earlier of the unicorn? It's supposed to be said that the reason for the origami unicorn is to let the audience know that this is one version. Let the audience know that they know his memories because they were implanted because he is also a replicant. That is one way to take it. Another way to take it is that, I don't know, he's not a replicant. Like, it's so weird. Like,
well, I'm just saying.
There's a bunch of it.
I was just saying, like, that one dude was just infatuated
I
with
think it was
making
Ridley
origami.
Scott himself who said that he was not a replicant.
Harrison Ford, Rucker Hauer, the author of the book, a bunch of other people all say that Deckard is not a replicant.
Right.
The only one that says he is Ridley Scott.
Right. Okay. So Ridley Scott's the only one that says he is. In my opinion, I don't care either way.
Right.
Take it how you want. I like the fact that there are different fan theories. The thing for me though is, if he would be a replicant, there is no 2049.
Right.
Correct.
Without, I mean, at least
then they're breaking their own rules.
Yeah, they're breaking their own rules there. So, in my opinion, he's not a replicant. But there is the one scene where the girl's standing there, and he walks behind her, and you see his eyes kind of glow like hers.
Like what a replicant
But the only
does.
difference is that his are glowing white, as if
and
it could be like headlights or something glowing in his eyes.
Yeah.
I can see that happens to all of us. If you're walking in just a certain way, and like eyes hit your eyes, or lights hit your eyes just a certain way, your eyes will glow like that too. But his didn't glow in any way that a normal human's wouldn't. So
right. So I don't know. I think
it's that scene in particular is supposed to throw you off. But if you're looking,
I think it would be cool, but there's no context to go off of to say that he is a replicant. So it makes no sense. So you're telling me that he's a Blade Runner and he's legal, or as a replicant? I don't understand. So it made no sense to me, because as soon as they found out that Rachel was a replicant, she was on the run, because they're like, she has to be killed because she's a replicant.
Well, I was just saying, like, why that other detective has a fascination with origami.
Oh,
every time he
can
turns around,
that.
he's like always making origami.
I can explain that. For every one of them that he made, there was some kind of thought he was having. Like in the first one, just for example, that's the only one I can remember off the top of my head, but the rest of them are in trivia. But for the first one, he makes a chicken when Deckard's talking about not wanting to do it.
Yeah, so he's calling him a chicken.
He's calling him a chicken.
Makes sense.
But to me, if that's the only thing that they're pointing out to say, like, oh, he's a replicant, is to say that, Gaff knew his dream about the unicorn, who's to say that couldn't have been implanted?
Right. Or even the fact that how would Gaff even know to begin with? Because doesn't he just work for the police department?
Well, what I'm saying is how could they say that, or how couldn't they say that, they didn't implant that dream for Deckard to have, just so Gaff could, plant that just to fuck with Deckard.
Right.
Are you a replicant or not?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
To kind of question himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't like.
If they had the technology to build entire human.
I think the movie is so convoluted enough that it doesn't need that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't, and I don't understand why.
It's so congested with so much other crap. I
don't understand why Ridley threw that kind of stuff.
Because
in
Ridley
there.
Scott's a complicated dude, and he likes to make complicated stories. So he likes it when people have to think. Don't get me wrong, I love that about him because he makes great story.
When it makes sense for the narrative, or when it makes sense to push a narrative, yeah. But this makes no sense.
Right.
This question, or
this would make no sense because there's nothing that
you don't gain anything on.
Yeah, you
from
get
the story.
nothing out of it. Yeah,
you don't. It doesn't do anything for 2049, as far as I understand.
Yeah, the only shitty part is that he gets to run away with a woman that's only going to live for 4 years.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't have a termination date.
Is that what they said?
Yep.
Oh.
Towards the end.
That's
Tyrell
implied. We don't know that.
Yeah, we don't know that because...
They said it at the end. They said...
That's implied.
No, they didn't say that because he still said that he couldn't get certain things about replicants right to where they could live longer. Because remember, Roy said, I want to live longer. He's like, you don't understand. I've tried all these different things. And
see, I don't understand that.
Hold up. And
I don't understand that either, though, because it's like, on one hand, they make the this 4-year rule after there's a revolution. So at one point, could they live longer, right? But then the cop guy, when he's talking to Deckard about it, tells him about this 4-year rule, and Deckard acts like he's never heard of it, so is it new? But then the cop guy says it like it's always been a thing. But then Tyrell says it like it's never been it's always been a thing, because he can never figure out how to let them live longer. But the Revolution suggests that they've always been able to live longer, and then they made this 4-year rule because of the Revolution. So they keep going back and forth with that too.
My opinion on this whole thing is that this world is so beautiful and looks so awesome and so lived in that I feel like the story itself for the movie fell flat.
Yeah.
Compared to the world that it's in.
Yeah.
Like the world that it's in, I feel like, man, you could have come up with such a cooler story for this with the visuals and the world itself, the world building.
I think that it's like they focus too much on the visuals. They focus too much on the design. They focus too much on other things that they just kind of like, when it came to
the story,
putting the story together and editing for that, they were just kind of like, oh, this is a great scene that tells a lot of the story and gives a lot of context.
But we need more visuals.
But there's not a lot of great visuals in this one. Cut it.
Yeah.
Like there's
I don't know which version of the movie you guys watched.
Final cut.
I watched the final cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I just watched the standard.
Which ending did you get?
Where he's driving.
Okay. Yeah, you got standard.
Yeah. I watched the final cut. Which they didn't show them driving at the end.
No, final cut, they get into an elevator and it closes, and that's
it. Yeah.
That's it. They get in the elevator outside of his apartment.
Yeah,
After
so this
Mm-hmm.
that one I got was where they are driving, and that's where I said that he said that Tyrell told him that she is not.
Oh, yeah, no,
she does not have
a date.
A date.
Yeah, that's not that.
Date.
Yeah, that's not a thing. Not in the final cut, which the final cut is the definitive version.
It's supposed to be the definitive director's cut version or whatever.
Yeah.
So
it's supposed to be the canon that everyone's supposed to go with. But again, that's a problem too, because this movie.
I don't know. So that's the thing. Getting into the second movie, I don't know what they like. I know that they talk about her in the second movie. I don't know what they say about. Used. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I don't know what they say.
That's a problem.
About,
like that's
I can't remember how they talked about her.
I know they talk about her and everything, but I don't remember how long she lives or anything like that. So
yeah, I haven't seen the second one, so I can't talk about that. But like, I can say that when you have a movie like this, that I know of at least 3 endings.
I think Harrison Ford had showed like where he buried her or something like that.
Yeah, and they're all equally as famous. I know the first time I watched it, I saw the elevator ending. And then the second time I watched it, I saw the driving away ending. And I was like, what the fuck? And then this time I watched the final cut. And I'm like, okay, so it's the elevator ending. The elevator ending is canon. Okay, got it.
I don't know. I was lost during the whole movie.
That's the problem. Is that like...
That's the problem. It is a hard movie to follow. And that's why I think it flopped back when it released.
Mm-hmm.
Because people were probably like, what the fuck is going on? Like, they couldn't follow the movie. Like, yeah, it's visually stunning, but you got to have a good story to go along with it. Like, if they would have changed the story, did a different story, or even made this story more coherent.
Well, in the original versions, there were soundovers. There were soundovers to help push the narrative and to help give you context. Like, Harrison Ford had a voiceover for, I think, most of them. I think it was Harrison Ford doing the voiceovers.
What, was he like narrating or something?
Yeah, kind of.
See, now if it would have been, because the best thing about this movie is, it reminds me of a detective noir.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And that's what it is. It's yeah, I know. And if they would have given that more, if they would have given him
more detective
like narration,
that's actually
that would make more sense as a detective noir.
That scene with the bathroom where he's actually doing detective work, that wouldn't have even been in there except if it weren't for the studio. Because the studio's like, he's supposed to be like a detective or something. Why isn't he doing any detective work?
Yeah.
And so they pushed it back and said, we have to have at least a scene where he's doing some detective work. And by then, Harrison Ford wasn't even available. So it was actually his stunt double that did that scene. Vic something or other. I have a picture of him side by side. You guys should see. It's kind of interesting.
Is it uncanny?
It kind of, yeah. And Vic actually stood in for him in a lot of different stuff
I'm sure they
this
tried
is
to
just
go
one of
back and
many.
reshoot. But I could see why the movie flopped, man. I'm like, watching it, I'm like, good Lord. Like, I remember seeing it the first, I'm like, this is a gorgeous movie. Like, I just, because I love the music, the visuals, all that stuff about the movie. But I'm like, it is so hard to hear them. You got to turn the volume all the way up to hear them say anything. And then
then
I
when
don't know, you'll
something-
have loud noises and it's loud as fuck. You're like, good Lord, man. So anyway, you guys all good on all your notes, or
Yeah.
you got more?
I got some. So what did I miss? Again, context. But what did I miss? What did they have over Deckard to make him go back? He didn't want to, and then they were like, "Oh, you have a choice." But I did not catch what they had over his head.
What did they say? I don't remember. I don't know that they had anything on him.
That's my point. So like,
But they threatened him with.
I didn't catch a damn thing that they had over his head, and I was paying attention. And then all of a sudden they're like, "You don't have a choice," and I'm like, "But why doesn't he? Like, what are you gonna do?"
I don't remember what they said they had on him to get him to come back.
Like sending him off world or some shit. I don't remember.
But
Yeah, I don't remember.
Like off world's apparently great, isn't it?
Well,
It's got to be better than this shithole.
Well, and okay, so and that goes back to something else. If off world's so fucking great, why do they have to advertise for it every 5 seconds?
Yeah.
Like, if it's so great, why aren't people just going?
Yeah.
I don't
remember. Yeah, I don't remember what they got on him to get him to come
I didn't
back.
catch it. Like, and I was trying to.
I think he was just
attention.
resisting, and then they were like, "No, bitch, you're coming back," and he was like, "Fine." You know what I mean? I don't
It's
think
one
it
of
was
those things.
really-
They'll throw him in jail if he doesn't do it, or something.
Maybe
I don't know.
it could be a law thing.
But I think they got Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, there wasn't
hairstyle
no.
for
They just
Rachel.
told him that he was the best. Like, you're the best Blade Runner we know. He's like, get so and so to do it. He's like,
Yeah, I heard that part.
and then they were like, no, but he's not as good as you. So
yeah, I need the
or
magic.
not
I
as
heard
fast
that
as
part.
you or some shit.
and
like
that's
that.
pretty much all it was. They just convinced
So they just
him to
stroked
come
his
back.
ego. And,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's all it was. They didn't have anything on him or anything stupid.
But it even said in this summary that they threatened him.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they did. Maybe he was obligated as a Blade Runner to do so.
He was retired.
I don't know.
Maybe that's. I
remember.
don't know.
It's like I said, some of the shit in this movie is so hard to hear that you can't. I've tried to keep up with it, and this is my second time seeing it, so
It's my third.
yeah. So I'm like, and I'm still confused by a lot of it.
I think they took Rachel's haircut as inspiration for Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, for sure.
Did I have anything?
The Prissy or whatever her name. The
Press.
Oh,
Priss.
did she look stupid when she did this?
Yeah.
She looks stupid.
I didn't
period, with her
know-
hair all fucking poofy.
I didn't know what the fuck her
Big Bird.
Yeah, she looked
Yeah.
okay until she did that spray, and then she
Yeah.
got the mushroom hair.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Like
fucking
that's when she looked stupid.
I know,
The
Before
fucking-
that, she looked fine.
Big Bird haircut. That
Yeah,
she
I know
had.
what
That's
the
what
fuck she was
killed
doing.
me.
But don't get me wrong, dude. Of the 4 replicants, she was my favorite
Yeah,
because she was the wild, off the hook. You know, she was the fun one, kind of.
well, and I liked when he told her
She'd have
that
made
the others.
a great Harley Quinn.
Yeah, when she told him that the others were dead, and she was like, "Well, we're dumb. We're gonna die." I'm like, "What? What? Like, you two are the last two to die. You're doing something right."
To be honest,
Yeah.
I didn't really like any of the characters. I thought they were all kind of boring.
Yeah, for the
Yeah.
most part.
Out of all of them, I think Batty was my favorite. Out of every character in the whole movie, Roy
Who?
Batty.
Oh, Roy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I did like him too. Him and Priss were they had the most.
And he's the bad guy.
Dimension.
Yeah,
but-
they had the most. I would say most character, I suppose.
He had the most development out of all the characters,
Yeah.
and he's the only one that you understood his whole entire, from here to here to the arc to death. You understood everything.
You understood
about
everything
him.
he was
Yeah.
doing because he's like, I just want to live longer. That's
Yeah, you
all.
understood everything about Roy from beginning to end. I can't say that about any other character.
No,
Not any other one.
right.
And lastly, probably my biggest problem is Deckard is played up from the beginning to be some kind of Blade Runner badass. I don't see that not once.
He gets his ass handed
He
to him
gets
a
his
lot,
ass
especially
kicked.
after he loses his gun. He starts
Yeah.
running.
Oh,
Yeah, he gets his ass kicked
Yeah.
where he's running.
Yeah.
That's all you ever see him do.
After he loses his gun, he's like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
Yeah.
You're not even that great. I feel like anybody could do your job.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not
Well, he did
great.
mention when he was getting brought back out of retirement, he's like, "I'm not as fast as I used to be."
That's not even the point. Like,
No.
It's
Fast to what? Run away?
Right.
all through this movie, even towards the end, it's like, oh, he's the best. He's the best. I'm not seeing it.
No.
Right.
Anyway,
I agree. Yeah, I didn't think he was that.
I guess.
I didn't think
I'm
he
not
was-
impressed
No.
at all.
Yeah, the more you talk about it, I'm kind of thinking like, man, this might be one of Harrison Ford's worst roles. Like, I'm not really digging it too much. Like, yeah, he was kind of a pussy.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay.
All right, well, that's all we got. Let's just go ahead and rate this bitch.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go this bitch.
Let's go ahead and start with Madison. Why don't you give us your review
I
for
don't
Blade Runner?
really know what to think about the movie because I don't really know what was going on during the movie. I feel like if I understood the story more, then I'd probably like the movie more, but I didn't really get the point of it. And I didn't really like any of the characters. It was a pretty movie, though. You're right.
Okay, so the rundown of
listen.
I know, but the
Listen.
rundown of the story is essentially
Listen, Linda.
these 4 replicants
Listen.
came to Earth. And replicants are
I
illegal
know I got that part.
and punishable by death.
I got
They
that
came to
part.
Earth.
I got that part.
The Blade Runner was sent in to kill them.
I got
That's
that
the
part.
rundown of the story.
Yeah, I got that.
that's
I
pretty
mean,
much-
like, the
that's-
context behind everything.
Yeah, you're not going to get it because we don't get it.
Yeah.
I can't explain that to you. So if you don't get it, you know as much as we do.
Yeah, but like that, and I didn't really like any of the characters. Like, they were all kind of boring. You're right. The movie was very pretty, especially the town and stuff. The way they did that was good. I didn't really like the movie that much because it was boring.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand it.
I was hoping for more out of it this time because I've seen it once, and this time I was just kind of like, eh.
That's usually when they fall flat, when you expect more out of them.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna give it a 4.
A 4 is a low baller. All right.
Yeah.
All right. 4 out of Madison. I think for me, I remember seeing it the first time, and I remember loving it. I might have been just hyping myself up, too, for the second
Were you
one.
high?
Because I was trying to, like, I wanted to watch 2049, and I was like, well, I got to watch the first one if I want to watch the second one. I'd never seen the first one. So I watched the first one. I was like, man, that was a really good movie. I can't believe I waited all these years to watch that movie. And I was going into it this time like, I remember loving this movie. I hope it's still great. I watched it and I was like, man, I'm kind of bored. Like I said, I think it's a movie that you really just have to be in the mood for. And you have to kind of like sit down and want to experience.
Yeah.
And for this podcast, it's not, movies aren't always something that we want to experience. Like sometimes, because they're all chosen at random, they're just movies that we're like, fuck, I don't want to watch that, but you do. And in this case, it was just one of them movies where I wasn't really in the mood for it. And I shouldn't feel that way, you know what I mean? Like, especially for a movie that I remember I loved watching. So that tells you that the rewatchability of this movie is not good. And even though your fucking cyberpunk nerds and all that will hype the shit out of this movie. But I think for me, a lot of it fell flat. The story was kind of like cut and dry. It was kind of like dumb for the world that they really built. You know what I mean? Like, this world is beautiful. And I guarantee you that there's more problems in this world than replicants. So if they built more around this world rather than just the replicants, I think it would be much cooler. Like, the 2049 movie goes into the replicant stuff too, and I feel like there's a lot more to offer here, in a cyberpunk kind of world, And I think you guys are right. The characters in this movie are kind of boring. Like Deckard, who's the main character, is just a boring asshole,
Rapey asshole.
Yeah, even the girl who plays Rachel, she was kind of just like blah. Even though she's probably the most interesting character of them all, because she has something more than the other replicants have. But really what it comes down to is Roy and Pris are the two most interesting people in this entire movie, and they're the fucking bad guys.
Yeah.
So I just think that the movie it falls a little flat for me this time. And I hope, because I remember the second one really fondly too, and I hope it's not the same case. Which I don't think it is, though. I think it's still a good movie. I think, but I think for this one, I'm gonna follow in Madison's footsteps here a little bit. I'm not gonna go as low. I think I'm gonna give it a 5.5, though. I'm not a huge fan anymore. I watched it and I was like, not like. I think if it would have been more of a cohesive story, I would have felt better about it.
Yeah.
That's really what killed it for me. That and the characters are just kind of like blah. There's not enough dialogue. Like, it's hard to follow. Like, it is. It's hard to follow. So, I'll go with a 5.5, which sucks. I feel bad for doing that, but
it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
You don't have to feel bad for that. I'll be honest, I was kind of surprised. I thought I was going to be like odd man out, but yeah. So I'll say same thing. It's visually stunning.
That's the only reason why it's got a 5.5 is because
the
visuals.
Yeah. It's visually
the world
stunning.
that's built for this movie is fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Honestly, I think we all feel the same way about throughout the whole.
The score on it matches the visuals and
the tone.
The tone.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that we're supposed to get out of Deckard's character is that he's learned how to be human from the replicants in some way, like Rachel and Roy or whatever. But like, I don't get that. I don't get that he's really learned anything.
I didn't see it either. I didn't see any development out of him
at all. Nothing.
Yeah.
Even
I didn't see a character arc there.
I feel like they were trying to beat that into your head somehow, but I didn't see it. I got nothing out of that.
By the end of it, you were like, I still feel like he's just this quiet, rapey asshole. Like,
I mean, by the end, I know that he's leaving with Rachel for the right reasons for him, but I know that she's capable of emotions and stuff, obviously, but like, I just don't get that that's altogether a great union, I guess.
No, it was obviously not a great union.
Obviously, but I mean, I didn't care for this movie the first time I watched it. And then I thought I needed to give it a second go, so I watched it the second time and I got a different ending and I was like, this is fucked. So then I watched it a third time this time because I still kept telling myself it's me. I'm the problem. I still don't get it. I still have no context. I watched it this time with the definitive final cut. That's the definitive version. And I still got nothing out of it other than what I've gotten every other time. So I'm guessing I got it the first two times. And you guys are all saying the same thing. So I think I got it. So I'm actually coming in at a 5. I think it's mid.
Mid-range.
Mid-range.
Like, I'll watch it for the visuals and everything, but as for story, blah.
Well, I mean, it's got to have a story, right?
Yeah, it does, for sure.
I'm sorry. Visuals can only take you so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially for a 2-hour movie.
For real. For real. For one that is critically and, audience acclaimed as this one.
I think if they would have trimmed this down to an hour and a half and gave it more context and more dialogue, it'd have been a great fucking movie.
Yep.
It probably would have been a 9er for me. It would have been a 9 movie.
The story is great if they just, whittled it.
Well, if they didn't
I
go
think
back
it's a very
and
cut
forth
and
on
dry
a lot of things
story.
It is a very cut and dry story,
but it's not something that you can't tweak and make fun.
But they had great characters.
Yeah,
they really did. Deckard, if they'd have just built on him a little bit, and the Rachel and all of the replicants,
or at least spend that 2 hours doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like instead of
killing them all off really, really fast, like Leon and Zora. Like Zora was cool. She was cool. I would have liked to got to know her a little bit. Like.
She was there and then she wasn't.
Yeah.
She was literally only in the one scene.
You're going to give me 2 hours and kill off, all the replicants except for 2 of them for, all at once. Like, they really could have done a better job of, creating that world for me instead of just showing it to me.
That and that one guy from the beginning, the one that shot the person.
Leon.
Yeah, Leon. I feel like he should have had a much bigger role than he did.
Yeah.
Especially since he was in the very beginning.
Yeah.
Whatever, though.
Yeah.
I didn't even understand why he was there to begin with. Like, what was the context in which he was supposed to be interviewed like that?
Yeah, good point.
I didn't understand why.
Well,
there's a whole lot of
why is
context.
why is this
with
interview
this.
being taking place?
Well, I don't know why the interview was taking place, but I assume that was when they first, like, that's how they broke out. Like, that was the start of it.
I think that I don't think they were on off-world. I think they had
Oh.
come to the world, and the whole process of getting onto the
he
world.
said that was where his apartment was, because he said his address, and he goes, yeah, that's where I live.
Yeah,
And he was
Yeah, so
like,
they
I
were
took
already on
another
Earth.
test. It was
Yeah.
nothing like this one, though.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just so.
See, they don't
place.
give you enough.
Yeah,
they,
so why is he here and why are they doing this? Like, it didn't make any sense. But whatever.
Yeah.
There's major context issues with this movie,
Right.
and that was probably that and the storyline and lack of character development. I mean, yeah, visualization, yeah, that was pretty cool and nice, but that literally was it for the movie. As you said, if they would have shortened the movie down to an hour and a half, gave it a little bit more story background, and gave the characters a little bit more background to kind of follow through, this movie would have probably been a damn near, 8 movie. But for me, with the lack of context and the lack of story and all that, I'm probably going to be same boat as you guys. It's probably going to be 5 for me.
Okay.
So that gives us a 4.9.
Okay.
Sorry.
Which is a shame, but
it is a shame.
It is a shame for something that I feel like took a lot of development effort.
Had
and
the
has
opportunity.
grown such a following, Like you hear people talking the movie up and everything, and you're like, "Wow, that movie sounds awesome." I remember Cy used to talk up this movie all the time, and I never watched it. And I don't know.
$20 says we get at least one. You just don't get it.
You just don't get it.
No, I think I got it.
All right, what do you guys think on the
Critics?
59.
No.
94.
For the critics, no, I'm not going to go that high. I mean,
I am.
It's one of those critically or cult classics, but for a critic, I'm going to probably lowball and say maybe 40.
What'd you say?
59.
Karen's going to take this at 89%.
Oh, fuck.
What?
Yeah.
Shut up,
Way the
Karen.
fuck off.
That smug smirk
Misunderstood
off your
when
face.
it first hit theaters. The influence of Ridley Scott's mysterious neo-noir Blade Runner has deepened with time. A visually remarkable, achingly human sci-fi masterpiece. All right, what do you guys think?
94. I'm gonna stick with 94.
The audience, yeah, I'll go 85.
What?
Audience score.
Sorry, I was thinking about the conversation we just
The
had.
monkey's playing the cymbals in her head. The hamster stopped spinning. She got a splinter in her windmill.
69.
Karen's going to take this too. It is a 91%.
Come on, you guys. You know people dig this movie.
Yeah.
No, I don't. But
91%. It's going to be hard finding negative reviews for this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Call us the odd ones.
Except for us.
Yeah. Here's a 2-star. Don't get the hype about this movie. Seriously, my English teacher in high school ruined it for me.
Oh.
Okay.
Well,
How?
I don't know.
that's not really your opinion, though.
Right.
Yeah.
That's your English teacher's opinion. Let me see if I can find a couple here. Here's a 2-star. I understand the appeal this movie had or once had. The slow pace gives us time to immerse ourselves in this bleak future world. But the visuals ceased to impress decades ago. The ethical struggle falls flat. So despite some moving performances, we were mostly just bored. I mean, I agree with the bored part, but like, as for the
ethical
visuals,
struggle, I like how he put that.
Yeah.
That, it falls flat because it does.
It really does, yeah. There's another 2-star. This rating is for the theatrical version, not the final cut. Terrible narration from a tired Harrison Ford and a, quite frankly, stupid ending ruin what could have been a masterpiece. I don't know that the ending really ruined it so much as the entire movie.
It's the theatrical cut. That's the one that Eric watched with the driving ending.
2-star. We'll never understand the hype with this movie. Thought it was average at best.
Meh.
Here's a 4-star. I'm going to give you guys some positive
Average.
Meh.
Okay.
ones. You're going to like the next one. Too.
Maybe for movies that we didn't like, we'll do the good,
positive ones.
positive ones,
so we can tell them how stupid they are for liking it.
Yeah.
Great movie. Personally, I love brighter colors, and this movie was a bit dark. So that minus for me, but story was awesome. It had no story. It had barely any story. All
So
right,
because it didn't have pretty colors.
Here's a 1-star. Normalizing sexual assault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really did.
And look,
make
I
it...
have to say, for that scene to have made all of us cringe
That's
at this table,
because I'm watching like, dude, I know she's a replicant, but you can't just like.
well, not any
Force
one of us
yourself.
here
Right,
are
we know
very
she's a
sensitive.
slave
Like
on
none of
other
us here like
planets.
usually give a shit.
We know
Yeah, but
that
for
she
your
might-
but for your protagonist to be like, tell me to kiss you.
For everybody
Like-
at this table to go,
Tell me you want me. I'm like,
Tell me you want me.
no,
Damn,
no.
dude, you got some sexual pent up tension inside you that maybe your mom didn't.
Do
give
you
enough
have a
love.
whistle, Rachel? Blink twice if you need help.
She's a replicant. She'll be like,
I can't
her brain
blink.
just shuts down.
Yeah.
I have an off button. Can you do that for me?
Yeah.
Here's a 2-star. I'm a big sci-fi fan, and I can appreciate the stylistic and genre trailblazing going on here, but sadly, this movie is dull. Just insufferably boring with a soundtrack that makes me want to eat my own ears. Wouldn't be so blunt, but this movie is just far too overrated.
I like this guy's opinion.
I do
Yeah, that was
agree.
pretty funny.
I do agree.
Eat
What do
my
you eat my
own
own
ears. Eat my own ears.
You are correct, Tom.
Fucking Mike Tyson.
Tom.
Well, except for the music was not terrible.
Here's a 1-star. It's like watching someone watch paint dry.
Watching someone else
Watching
watch
someone-
paint dry?
Yeah.
That is pretty fucking boring.
Yeah.
At least they get
It's
to
like
watch the
watching
paint.
someone watch paint
You
dry.
watch somebody else watch paint dry. That's really
Oh,
boring.
here's another 1-star.
It's like,
Unfortunately, the old and new movies were and still are boring for me. Although I like the new one better, the cinematography is great. I think I might like the new one better too.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed the second one.
So-
In my opinion.
We'll see. Here's the last one. I don't know what this means. 1-star. Was mid NGL. What does that mean?
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Oh, not gonna lie. Okay. Don't get the hype. I thought that NGL was gonna mean something cooler than that. Here's a 1.5 stars. This is my last one. One of the most overrated sci-fis of all time, with only 2001: A Space Odyssey close enough to compete.
That's
but,
fair.
Yeah.
That's very
But this
fair.
one is worse, so it wins. The sequel, though, is a right and proper sci-fi movie, well worth watching in the cinema.
I do disagree though. 2001 is worse.
You think? Is it worse? I've
I
seen
would
2001.
rather watch.
I've never seen 2001.
I would rather watch Blade Runner.
I've never really
on
been
repeat
interested.
with
It's one
my
of the
eyes
movies-
peeled open.
It's one of the
than watch
movies where I'm
2001.
like, so a guy stuck on a space station all by himself, I'm good.
No, there's more.
I'm sure. But...
There's not just that. It's like,
And then there's a robot too, or the.
do you remember Baby Einstein? No. Baby Einstein was this thing that came out that you were supposed to show babies that would make them smarter, and it was just
Oh,
I know
what
what
it
you're
was
talking
just
talking
it was
about.
random
Yeah, Xavier
scenes,
watches that.
right?
Yeah.
Just random. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Random scenes of randomness,
Uh-huh.
right? As an adult or anyone that can speak, whatever, you're watching this going, how does this work exactly? That's what 2001 is. It's just random sequences that you're supposed to, at the end, somehow come up with, oh, that was mind blown. Wow.
Yeah, right.
That is beautiful.
Baby Einstein.
I can't fucking stand Stanley Kubrick.
All right. So let's get into some trivia with Karen.
Yeah.
Xavier loved Baby Einstein. He loved watching it. I don't think he got smarter from it, but whatever. He liked watching it, kept him quiet.
Sweet ass trivia with Karen.
I didn't have to hold him down, cover his mouth anymore.
Director Ridley Scott and director of photography Jordan Cronenweth achieved the famous shining eyes effect by using a technique invented by Fritz Lang known as the Schuften process. Light is bounced into the actors and actresses' eyes off of a piece of half-mirrored glass mounted at a 45-degree angle to the camera. So that was actually just their regular eyes, but
that's how they did
light
that?
angled into
light
their
directed at them from a different angle.
That's awesome.
That's
It's a good effect, though. And it's like super cheap and very resourceful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rutger Hauer came up with many inventive ideas for his characterization, like the moment where he grabs and fondles a dove. He also improvised the now iconic line.
I didn't understand that. Yeah, it just had a dove out of nowhere. Like, where did that fucking dove come from? He was like holding a dove, and he's just like holding it.
I wouldn't have thought that he improvised that. I would have thought that his character just did that because, like, he wanted to hold a bird before he died. Like, I don't know. I thought it was like symbolic in some way, like freedom
I didn't know
for
what
the bird.
fuck
I
was
don't
going
know.
on. I'm like, out of nowhere, he's on the roof and he's holding a dove. I'm like, where did the dove come from? And how did he catch it? Like, he just grabs a dove, and it's
You
a
see him-
perfectly white dove.
Oh yeah,
you see
He
him
called
running
his
down the
manager
street
saying,
trying to
"Bring me a
catch that
dove to my
Come back.
to my
And
trailer."
it's so
No.
weird in a movie that's so dark and grim and dirty, and then there's this perfectly white dove that he's holding. I'm like, what is this? Is that
Totally
supposed to mean
symbolic
something?
thing, yeah.
Yeah, is it symbolic in some way?
that's what I took it as. Like,
Symbolism.
yeah, what's the symbology there? He also symbolized. He also improvised the now iconic line, "All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in the rain." He later chose "All Those Moments" as the title of his autobiography, and according to this biography, the final confrontation between Rick Deckard and Roy Batty was to have been a fight in an old gym using martial arts like kung fu or something similar.
But Deckard never shows throughout the entire movie that he knows any martial arts.
Nope.
I know.
Howard disliked the idea, saying it was too Bruce Lee.
Oh.
He didn't know kung fu anyway, and claims to have come up with the idea of Batty chasing Deckard. After Pris first meets J.F.
Everybody
Sebastian,
chased Deckard.
See, I didn't like that either, though, because Deckard just ran away after he lost his gun.
Instead of improvising and trying to come up with
like,
ways
I
to
didn't
fight.
understand that either. Like, why are you? You're supposed to be this badass Blade Runner, and you're running away.
Yep.
I don't know. Whatever.
Oh no,
it's
I
better
think
than the kung fu thing,
I
though,
think-
because
That is true.
that
The
would have
kung fu
been
thing
really
was
dumb.
a
Like,
bit
considering the
much.
rest of the movie, him getting his ass kicked, then all of a sudden, like,
yeah. Like, maybe have a confrontation between the two of them where he just gets his ass kicked some more.
yeah,
And then
think-
just he picks up his gun
old
and blows
school
his head off.
Street
or something.
Fighter.
Or maybe
you know,
he just dies in the midst of beating the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
You know, I think that I'd run away too if I seen the dude just stick his head through a wall and just.
That's true.
Here's
Okay.
Johnny.
I would be scared.
That part makes me giggle.
That does.
That's
I
where
did
I'm like,
laugh.
giggle
I
every
did
time.
laugh.
Here's
Part of it
Johnny.
was he was laughing too. Though Roy comes through there and he's like smiling. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
I'm out.
Fucking creepy.
It's really weird.
After Pris
Like, he was
first,
losing his mind in those last few moments he had. It was like,
Well, I guess it was technically like he was an old man within his lifespan. So maybe he was just getting dementia.
he could be.
Could.
So
After Pris first meets J.F. Sebastian, she runs away from him, skidding into his car and smashing the window with her elbow. This was a genuine mistake caused by Hannah slipping on the wet ground. The glass wasn't breakaway glass, it was real glass, and Hannah chipped her elbow in 8 places.
Ooh.
She still has the scar from the accident, as can be seen in Dangerous Days, the Making a Blade Runner documentary of this movie.
who was it?
Hannah,
Daryl
Daryl
Hannah?
Hannah.
Oh, okay.
uh,
She slipped on what?
just
the
the
set.
when she was running,
Yeah.
and they had, it's always wet, right? Because they always had rain. When she was running away from him, when she first meets him, she slid
You broke that window.
and she broke that window on the car. That wasn't meant to happen.
Oh, okay.
She hit the window, and it wasn't breakaway
It
glass.
wasn't
It
a
was
car.
real.
It was a door to yeah, it was a car, wasn't it?
It was
yeah,
a
you're
car,
right.
yeah.
It was a car.
yeah, but yeah, it wasn't breakaway glass. She wasn't supposed to.
She just put her arm through it.
It
huh?
was real glass, and she put her arm through it. She broke her elbow.
Hey, I know that like she wasn't that but she was in Kill Bill, dude. She was fucking
Dude, she was gorgeous when she was younger.
yeah. She was real pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that she really aged badly. She aged naturally. Like, she just.
I don't know. I haven't seen her recently to know.
Well, I mean, like in Kill Bill, you could tell.
Yeah,
like, she
yeah.
hadn't
Kill
done
Bill.
anything.
Hell, that was only 2007,
Yeah,
2006,
something like that.
and you got to think that's still 20 years.
Something like that.
20 years?
Something like that. Yeah.
And she really didn't age that badly over
No, that's what I'm
years,
saying.
So.
She's just taking it naturally.
Which
Sir
they
Ridley
all
Scott.
should.
Huh?
That's which they all should.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, shit.
Sir Ridley Scott regards this movie as probably his most personal and complete movie, it being his favorite film of his own. The final cut, released in 2007, is his favorite version of this movie. Philip K. Dick personally approved of Rutger Hauer, describing him as the perfect baddie, cold, Aryan, and flawless. Likewise, after seeing Ford as Deckard, Dick declared, "He has been more Deckard than I had imagined. It has been incredible. Deckard exists." Director Ridley Scott cast Rutger Hauer in the role of Roy Batty without meeting him. He had watched his performances in Turkish Delight, Katie Tipple, and Soldier of Orange, and was so impressed that he cast him immediately. However, he for their first meeting, Hauer decided to play a joke on Scott, and he turned up wearing huge green sunglasses, pink satin pants, and a white sweater with an image of a fox on the front.
What the fuck?
Okay.
Did he go through his daughter's closet or something?
And I'm imagining that white sweater to like come up to here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? According to production executive Katherine Haber, when Scott saw Howard, he literally turned white.
Oh.
Could you imagine just like, hiring this guy, never meeting him, and then him walking in like that? Like,
That's like one of those
Who the fuck did
instances
I
where
just
you just
hire?
like you're looking at him, you're like,
Maybe I changed my mind.
just kidding.
Just kidding. Where's that other guy?
security.
In Philip K. Dick's original novel, animals were virtually extinct, something that this movie only addresses in very subtle ways. The most obvious reference to this animal extinction is when Rick Deckard asks Zora if her snake is real, and she replies,
I'm not that rich.
"Do you think I'd be working in a place like this if I could afford one?" Another reference occurs in the scene where Rick Deckard first visits Dr. Terrell, and he asks Rachel if their owl is replicated. She responds with, "Of course it is." In Dick's novel, the owls were the first creatures to die out. And see, they don't even address that at all. They just, The term replicants is used nowhere in the novel. The creatures in the source novel are called androids or Andes. The movie abandoned these terms, fearing that they would sound comical spoken on screen. Replicants came from screenwriter David Webb Peoples' daughter, Risa, who was studying microbiology and biochemistry. She introduced her father to the theory of replication, the process whereby cells are duplicated for cloning purposes.
I agree. I like replicants more.
I do too. Philip K. Dick first came up with the idea for his novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep in 1962 when researching The Man in the High Castle, which deals with the Nazis conquering the planet in the 1940s. Dick had been granted access to archived World War II Gestapo documents in the University of California, Berkeley, and had come across diaries written by SS men stationed in Poland, which he found almost unreadable in their casual cruelty and lack of human empathy. One sentence in particular troubled him. "We are kept awake at night by the cries of starving children." Dick was so horrified by this sentence that he reasoned there was obviously something wrong with the man who wrote it. I lost my place.
Oh no.
Hold on. I will find it.
Trivia's going
There it
on.
is.
Trivia's long whenever she's like, her phone's turning off on her. Like,
Yeah, the
"Fuck
phone's
you, we're
glitching
done."
out. This led him to hypothesize that Nazism in general was a defective group mind. A mind so emotionally flawed that the word human could not be applied to them. Their lack of empathy was so pronounced that Dick reasoned they couldn't be referred to as human beings, even though their outward appearance seemed to indicate that they were human. The novel sprang from this, and interestingly enough, it is now thought that some people are occupational psychopaths due to low-functioning amygdala, the fear centers of the brain's limbic system. A female gymnast was hired as a stunt double for Daryl Hannah in the scene where Pris attacks Deckard, but Ridley Scott rehearsed the scene so many times that when they were ready to shoot the scene, she was too exhausted to do anything. The scene was filmed with a male gymnast that they had been able to track down during their lunch break.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was wondering if it was just Daryl Hannah. I was like, man, because it transitions from her to the acrobatic stuff
Seamlessly.
really well.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was just her doing them. But yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. So they did a good job of transitioning.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, damn, Daryl Hannah's like really like athletic. Like
The snake scale seen under the electron microscope was actually a marijuana bud.
Oh, sweet.
Some computer displays within the vehicles were used on the Nostromo and the lifeboat in Alien. Some sounds from that movie can be heard too. Like when Gaff takes Rick Deckard in his flying police spinner, a brief shot of a monitor appears which displays Environ CTR Purge screen followed by an animation of what looks like a clamp releasing a lock. The same Purge screen was used in Alien as Ripley starts up. Oh, Jesus. I keep hitting the back button on accident. Because I'm trying to hold it with two hands. I will stop doing that. The same Purge screen was also used in Alien as Ripley starts up and launches the shuttle, and the lock release animation can be seen earlier in the movie when the Nostromo breaks away from the refinery that it is towing and initiates the landing procedure to the planet. Fans have speculated that this connection could mean that both films exist in the same universe.
I was about to say that. Like, these two movies, like, those two franchises could easily exist in the same universe.
Something which has been strongly suggested by Scott himself.
Yeah. They could easily exist in the same universe.
It's just way cooler when you can start connecting different movies. And yeah.
That makes Blade Runner cooler.
Yeah.
If it was connected to Alien.
I agree. Due to an imminent strike amongst the actors and actresses near the end of photography, the shooting schedule became extremely long and rushed in order to complete the movie. 2 stunt doubles for Rutger Hauer had been injured while making Roy Batty's jump during the movie's climax, so Hauer asked for the gap to be tightened a bit and then successfully performed the jump himself. When filming his death scene, after 25 hours of shooting, Hauer was so exhausted that he excused himself, went back to his hotel, and collapsed. When he returned to the set the next day after a decent sleep, the strike had been averted. Hauer was able to finish his scenes properly and even came up with his famous death monologue. This is also Rutger Hauer's favorite film of his own.
Well, of course it is. It's the one he's probably most well known for.
Probably. When Deckard stops Rachel from leaving his apartment, he pushes her away from him. The expression of pain and shock on her face was real. Sean Young said that Harrison Ford had difficulties playing the scene with her and had pushed her too hard. However, when he saw how angry she was with him, he affectionately mooned her to break the ice.
Mooned her.
Definitely.
Yeah.
See, I'm starting to like Harrison Ford a lot more, though.
I know. He seems like
seems like a pretty cool dude to hang out with.
Yeah.
Affectionately mooned her.
Yeah, affectionately.
Like, hey.
Hey, girl.
Look at that butt.
It'd be funny if he pulled some Ace Ventura shit.
Hey, girl.
Yeah.
He pulled down his pants and started ass talking her, like talking sexy to her with her butt.
Sorry, I pushed you.
Hey, girl. What's up?
This movie suffered at the box office because it opened at the same time as E.T., The Thing. The Thing suffered a similar fate due to the same reason. Although there was praise for the visual style, word of mouth about this movie's slow pace and bleak themes quickly caused a decrease in attendance ratings. Both movies later reached cult status and critical praise. According to Paul Salmon, who toured the set in 1981, the level of detail on everything was amazing, even though much of it would never be seen on screen. This blew my mind. So, for example, written on the door of a bus was "Driver is armed, carries no cash." While written in tiny print on the parking meter was "Warning, danger, you can be killed by internal electrical system if this meter is tampered with." Also written on the parking meters was the rate: 1 minute parking pass costs $3. On a magazine rack were magazines with mocked-up covers. These magazines included Crotch, Zord, Bash, Creative Emotion, and Droid. A skin magazine called Horn had headlines reading "The Cosmic Orgasm, Hot Lust in Space, Tit Job Review, and Scratch and Sniff Counterspread." Crime Magazine.
What about that is appealing?
Crime Magazine.
I don't think I'd be buying that magazine.
Crime Magazine Kill had covers reading "Multiple Murders, Reader's Own Photos," 98 Dead and Spinner Drive, "Death Penalty Snuffs 12 Jurors and Freak Accident." Another magazine, Moni, had headlines "Earthlings Pay Big Money to See Future," "Higher Tech" by L.G. Paul, and "Illegal Aliens" by R. Scott.
Oh, yeah.
But these are things that you would never see.
Right.
Like, the level of detail just blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like I said, this world is so well done that it's so well lived in. It looks lived in. Like,
but
there's nothing sheen about it. You know what I mean? It's not shiny and pretty. It's fucking dirty and lived in.
Mm-hmm. Harrison Ford cites this movie as one of the most frustrating movies he's ever made, partly because the shoot was so grueling and the changes in post-production that were meant to help this movie's chances at the box office didn't. He also famously didn't get along with director Ridley Scott. According to producer Alan Ladd in the book Future Noir, The Making of Blade Runner, at one point, Ford and Scott wouldn't speak to each other. By the end of the shoot, Ford was ready to kill Ridley. He really would have taken him on if he hadn't been talked out of it. For his part, Ridley Scott was dismayed to discover that American crews are operated very differently from British ones. In his native UK, Scott was primarily a camera operator and would always step behind the camera to see the viewfinder. This wasn't common practice in America and led to much tension between Scott and the crew. Scott also frustrated cast and crew by continuously making changes to sets and story. Screenwriter David Webb Peoples, who was asked to rewrite the screenplay throughout the shoot, often found that his rewrites were already obsolete by the time he handed them in. Conflicts on set arose almost immediately upon commencement of filming. The first scenes to be shot were those which take place in Eldon Tyrrell's office. Despite careful pre-production, director Ridley Scott was very dismayed to find that the columns of the office had been built upside down. Rearranging them took several hours. After 2 weeks of shooting, he decided he didn't like the lighting for the scenes and ordered everything to be reshot from scratch. This not only put this movie 2 weeks behind, schedule only 2 weeks into the shoot, but also created a major conflict between Scott and the camera crew, headed by director of photography Jordan Cronenweth. Scott's perfectionism throughout the production would often cause considerable delays when he decided to change lighting and sets on the spot. He also had many unused takes printed at considerable cost, causing the budget to inflate rather quickly. This also put a strain on his relation with the producers, but Scott stood his ground and maintained that his background in commercials and keen eye for detail were exactly the reasons that they had hired him. The Hades landscape in the opening shot was filmed...
Good Lord, how much trivia is there?
I told you! The Hades landscape in the opening shot was filmed using forced perspective.
Are we halfway through, Karen?
Yes.
Okay.
The miniature was only...
Just barely.
the miniature was only 13 feet deep and 18 feet wide. Smoke was used extensively to create a sense of depth. To keep the level of smoke consistent during shooting, a smoke detector was connected to a smoke generator and would signal if it went ahead to produce more smoke. Almost 7 miles of fiber optics and over 2,000 lights were needed to illuminate the landscape in order to film the entire sequence. The same piece of film was exposed multiple times, each time filming a different element in the shot. In order for all the takes to match up, the exact camera movement had to be repeated with a motion-controlled camera up to 17 times. This put so much stress on the film that the special effects team would often find that the camera had ripped the film to shreds.
Sorry, I had to add some context to that. Sorry.
Sorry, it wasn't done.
Ridley Scott initially toyed with the idea of setting this movie in the fictional city of San Angeles, as if San Francisco and Los Angeles had become one massive population center.
It's a prison center.
This idea was then
Alex.
used in Demolition Man as a combination of Los Angeles, San Diego, and Santa Barbara. So this goes back to what you were talking about, Eric. There are a total of 3 origami creatures made by Gaff. The first is a chicken, which he makes from plain paper while Deckard is trying to chicken out. The second is a man, which he makes of a used, discarded paper match, while Deckard is searching Leon Kowalski's apartment. The third is a silver unicorn, which he makes outside Deckard's apartment while deciding whether to kill Rachel. Later, when arriving on the rooftop after Roy Batty dies, Gaff says to Deckard that it's over, inferring that all 5 replicants were dead. Instead of killing her, Gaff decides to let Deckard pursue his dream, symbolized by the third origami creation, a unicorn made not from paper but from silver foil. The dream is both allegorical and real, as Deckard actually does dream of a unicorn. An unanswered question in this movie is that of whether Deckard is human or otherwise. Rachel asks him if he'd ever taken the Voight-Kampff test, and his lack of response might be taken as a no. It should also be noted that at one point Deckard describes 2 dreams that were taken from Dr. Eldon Tyrell's niece, that in Deckard's own dream there was a unicorn, which poses the question, was Gaff's choice of a unicorn simply symbolic of a quest for something both beautiful and impossible, or was it taken from Deckard's own dream, which would then point to Deckard being a replicant? Another clue would have been heard at the end after Gaff says, "You have done a man's job, sir." An unused part of the shot had Gaff continue by saying, "But are you sure you are a man?" The humanity of Deckard was left up to the audience to decide. Regarding whether or not Rick Deckard is a replicant, director Sir Ridley Scott is okay with either interpretation, but he believes the answer to be yes. He says the expression on Deckard's face after noticing the origami unicorn outside his apartment door is confirmation. Gaff was there, the unicorn is from Deckard's dreams, and Gaff would have had access to Deckard's file, which would probably include mention of the unicorn dream implant.
Is that it?
It can be.
Let's make it.
Yeah.
Let's end on that note, because let's face it, that's the piece of
You
trivia
got like
that
another
everybody
like
hears
3
about.
pages worth right there.
Good
It was
Lord.
just like
Fuck. I'm watching her
most of that
scrolling
stuff, like
up,
the
and it's like fucking just non-stop.
well, like all of those companies that they had advertisements for in the movie.
Yeah.
Every single one of them had like some incredible setback to their company afterwards. It was like a curse.
Huh.
Like, there's just a lot of neat stuff.
All right, well, let's move on here. God damn. Speed this up. Cutting Karen short this week.
That's fine. I told you there was
short.
a lot.
Actually, I can't even say short because...
I told you there was a lot.
Yeah. Anyway, that's Blade Runner. Maybe eventually we'll draw it again and we'll do Blade Runner 2042.
You said
2049.
baby like it's
Or,
not
yeah, that's what I
the
said.
box.
2049. Anyway, what are we doing next week, Karen?
I don't
Let's
know.
look.
You have to hold it.
I'm holding it.
Okay.
Da, 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 da. I'm like Vanna White right now. It's a new car. Better be something good.
Nothing but trouble.
Oh.
We were
I'm
just
okay with
talking about
that.
that movie.
Yeah, we were.
All right, Nothing But Trouble. Good old comedy. Something from going from something as boring as Blade Runner to something as fun as
Not
Nothing But
streaming,
Trouble.
must rent.
Really?
Yep.
Because I don't own it. I used to have it on DVD years ago.
Pretty sure I have it.
It's not streaming at all? Like anywhere?
All I'm seeing is rent on Apple TV, Prime, Amazon, YouTube, Vudu. Nothing where it says streaming wise.
Nothing But Trouble. Yep.
Did you have to double check? Like,
No, I'm seeing how much it costs.
oh.
Well, we already did Chevy Chase, so I guess maybe next week we could do... Oh, man, we got some options. We could do Demi Moore. We could do Dan Aykroyd. We could do John Candy. There's some options there.
We should do Candy.
I'm thinking so. Maybe John Candy.
Yeah.
Because,
It's either Candy
We'll
or
see.
Dan Aykroyd, one of the two.
or Demi Moore.
I say John Candy or Demi Moore, your better options. Because one, we don't do women very often, and John Candy, I don't know when you'll have another chance to do John Candy again.
I don't really know another chance to do John Candy again either.
Okay.
Yeah. It might be John Candy. Who knows? We'll see.
Might throw a
We'll
wrench in
surprise
there.
you next week.
It could be Arnold Schwarzenegger again. Who knows?
It
Why
could be the
would
guy
it-
that made up
We
the
don't- we
Humpty
don't-
Dance.
It's
Huh?
Could be the guy that made up the Humpty Dance
yeah,
all around the world.
exactly.
Digital Underground.
It could be. It
Yeah.
could be. It could be the Rick guy.
I mean, he was acting.
Tupac. You could do
Rick
Tupac.
James.
Yeah.
Rick
that
James.
his
Why would we do Rick James?
Why would we
I'm
do?
Rick James, bitch.
Why would we
could
do
do
Candy?
Tupac.
Why would
Tupac?
we do
We
Candy?
could do Tupac.
Charlie
Yeah.
Murphy.
Huh?
Ooh, let's do Ice Cube. Like,
All right. Anyway,
surprise you.
next week we're doing Nothing But Trouble. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to
Everything.
the YouTube and everything else, and get on our social stuff and catch us there.
Catch us
Apparently,
there.
our ex is doing really well, which is good news. Be nice to see our TikTok stuff blow up, and you guys start sharing that. That'd be cool. Because let's face it, all it takes is like a couple of clicks on with your thumb. You know, you're just sitting on the shitter looking anyway. You ain't got
No,
nothing
that's
else
just
to do.
you.
That's everybody. Everybody scrolls TikTok on the shitter. Right?
I watch
Right?
Netflix.
Right? I don't
It
have
depends.
TikTok anymore.
So,
So,
TikTok or Facebook.
yeah.
Netflix.
Mine's usually just YouTube.
Netflix.
So
if I like your
Netflix.
posts on Facebook, most likely I'm sitting on the shitter.
all right, so next week, Nothing But Trouble. We will see you guys there.
Yep.
Okay, bye.
Bye, I guess.
Okay, bye.
Bye, guys.